We're best ball drafting. We're best ball drafting, but we're keeping week one in mind because the weekly winners on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, which is a link I'm dropping this very second. That, my friends, the weekly winners, you win 20K if you have the highest scoring team in week one. Independently, you win 20K if you're the highest scoring team in week two. None of the weeks correlate. There's no matter if you win week 5 or if you're the best scoring team through 10 weeks. Every single week is individually calculated, and there's a prize that repeats every single week. 20K to first place. Second week, 20K to whoever scores first in week 2 alone. Let's get into a weekly winners best ball Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, where they match up to $100 in your first deposit. The link has been dropped in the live stream twice in the chat. It's in the description of every video. Let's get to drafting.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to draft live, and we're doing the weekly winners best ball draft where in one sitting you draft your team, just like you would in any normal best ball situation, right? But the difference is none of the weeks are tied together whatsoever. There's no week 17 prize. There's no Super Bowl winner. There's nothing of the sort. It's all who wins week 1, who wins week 2, who wins week 3, all individually. And my people, guess what? We're going to be drafting in T-minus about 20 seconds. I'm going to pin the link in a second. And we're going to jump straight into a live best ball draft on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. The link is in the live chat, and I'm going to pin it this very second. And at that point, hopefully you guys are already signed up, or you sign up really quickly. And even if, let's say, you don't get into this draft, let's just say you don't get into this specific draft, all you have to do is join a draft right alongside of us and use the logic and reasoning with your draft right alongside our draft. Sometimes it even works better that way. Okay, Dan the Grim Reacher dropping a super chat already, and you know the drill. First super chat of the day or evening or any live stream gets a standing ovation. So Dan the Grim Reacher, this is for you, pal.
Let's go! Mashed potatoes!
Okay, here we go. Click on the weekly winners, but don't click the green button yet. Click on it. Okay, 3.5 million in prizes. But the prize breakdown weekly is the same every single week. 20K to whoever scores the most points in week 1. 20K to whoever scores the most points in week 2. Rinse and repeat for 17 straight weeks. That means you can draft a team based on the bye weeks and say, you know what, I'm going to win week 10. I'm just going after week 10. I looked at the matchups. I love who the Niners are playing this week and who the KC Chiefs are playing this week. And you could attack one individual week and try and win 20K in that single week. You can go after Bye-Mageddon and draft the best team you could possibly draft around the bye week Armageddon that everybody talks about. Click the green button now. I'm got a 5-second YouTube delay, so I'll grab a spot right now. Weekly winners, we're jumping in. Android, I got good news. It's on Android now, according to a lot of people that you got to update the app. So let's jump right into the weekly winners, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. And look at this. Oh, we don't even have the sign on. What are we doing? What in the heck? What kind of Mickey Mouse situation is this? Look at this. Underdog Fantasy is where it's at. And are we full yet? Draft starts in 53 seconds. We're full. If for any reason you didn't get in to this draft, I don't have anything prepared tonight, do I? If you didn't get into this particular draft, let me tell you something. You're actually maybe in better luck than everybody else because you get to watch what we do. You get to apply what we do in your specific draft. Rinse and repeat tonight. Get Kenneth Walker in round 5. Get Breece Hall in round 4 or 5. Get Joe Burrow in 5 or 6. Let the panic ensue. Joe Burrow, he's injured. We're not going to draft him. Breece Hall, he's on the active PUP. We're not going to draft him. And we're going to take full advantage of everything that is coming downstream with all the news and all the panicked Peters out there drafting with you. Draft starts in 12 seconds. I'm going to go to board view. It looks like I got the 7 pick. switching on over. Now, I bet some of you, because we got 70 people in here already, I bet you some of you jumped in a draft, didn't get into this draft because it filled pretty quickly, and you're in your own draft. And there's probably a bunch of you from this community in that draft because we're filling up multiple drafts now. Okay, is this guy a Bijan fan or something, says Garrett. I don't know, Garrett. I don't know. Maybe. Am I a Bijan fan?
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring.
Hey, we talked about this earlier tonight, or in the evening show. What would happen to Ja'Marr Chase? This is the first time that I've seen him fall past the 2 pick. Not only did he fall past the 2 pick, TMT grabbed Bijan over him, which isn't crazy. It isn't crazy because I like Bijan anyway. But wow, that's the furthest I've seen him fall. I'm on the clock now. It went McCaffrey, Kupp, Chase, Bijan, Kelsey, JJ on up the board. Let's see who's available for your boy Smitty. And boy, I gotta put my money where my mouth is on this one. I do. I'm doing it. Look, I'm in a best ball draft. Okay, I can't trade, and I'm telling you, I like Garrett Wilson over Tyreek Hill. I'm telling you, I like Garrett Wilson over Cooper Kupp. And if I don't put my money where my mouth is, what good am I to all of you? What good am I to this world? So I'm going to stand firm. I'm not going to care about the petrified Peters that come into the draft and the upset Ungers and the naysaying Neds that come in here. Garrett with a $5 super chat here says, Smitty, 12-man PPR ESPN draft tomorrow at the 1.1. I know you are drafting, but do you have some favorites I should target for the first few rounds? Good question, Garrett. I'm going to tuck your question away right here, and we're going to come back to it as we get to the turn. When we come back to the 1 pick, okay, and we'll talk it through real quick. Dan the Grim Reacher, appreciate you dropping that. $10 hauler from James, acting like a complete maniac in the chat, dropping the 10 spot, which gets you a moonshot every time you drop one.
To the moon.
James, my guy. James says, hey, Smitty, made it in this one, pick 10. Okay, this is my 40th weekly winter draft. My approach is not conventional. Let's go. Okay, can't wait to see what you're doing. You're in the 10 pick. Thank you, James, for dropping the $10 hauler. James is Smitty approved. Are you?
You've just been Smitty approved.
All right, Bijan Robinson over Ja'Marr Chase. I'm okay with Bijan over Ja'Marr Chase. I'm just saying it's the first time we've seen Ja'Marr Chase drop because we asked this earlier. If Joe Burrow's dropping because Panic Peters out there are panicking, why isn't Chase dropping? And he certainly dropped in our community. In our community draft, he dropped in our community. So clearly there's an opportunity to get him a little later. All right, I'm on the clock. This is tough. I really like Barkley here. I really like Jalen Hurts here. I think Barkley's going to ball out. I like Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard's going to ball out. I'm going to try and go balanced approach here. I've got Garrett Wilson. I've got Saquon Barkley. Feeling pretty good about that. Okay, here we go, Garrett. We're getting back to keep the super chats rolling. I'll answer them, and I'll put them all in order on screen and try and totally keep up. I got to get into a groove as we start getting into super chat season because I'm going to get tons of them piling up, and I got to get in my rhythm. I got to get used to not getting behind on them. Remember last year? Appreciate you all. Okay, so as we get to this turn, I don't know that you're going to see the same kind of draft, but let's say you go Ja'Marr Chase, which is what I would do. That's me. If it's a Garrett, if it's a PPR 3 wide receiver required league, even if it has 2 and a flex, if it's 3 wide receivers, Ja'Marr Chase or JJ, pick your poison. If you're more comfortable with JJ, I get it. If it's 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and a flex, meaning you could start 3 running backs and 2 wide receivers, I would go Bijan number 1. I would. I don't care if it's PPR or not. I would. And I don't care what anybody says, Garrett. I don't care what anybody says. And if they have a problem with it, you tell them to come to me. You tell them to come into my live stream and say, Smitty, my boy Garrett in our draft drafted Bijan 1.1, and he blames you. What do you say about that? You send him right to me, Garrett. Tony Pollard, Jalen Hurts. I even don't mind Calvin Ridley at that 3.1. Out of principle, take him at 3.1. But if you go Chase and let's say Fields is early there. I mean, he's going around 5, but in our community, everyone's sniping like crazy. I don't know. I don't know who's going to fall to you that's going to be different here. Olave. I think Olave Garrett's going to fall in most leagues, especially if this is an ESPN draft. I think the ADP on Olave on ESPN's in the 3rd, like breaching 4th round territory the last time I heard. I don't draft over there, but you have to cater to let the ADP cater to you, manipulate it. And what I mean by that is draft around it and let people, like, this is not going to be an accurate depiction of Burrow or Fields, by the way, guys, because we're in our own community and people are sniping like crazy. Burrow's fallen to round 5 or round 6 outside of our community. So I know everybody's afraid everybody else is going to take him, and so they grab him, but you will not see him go before probably around 5 right now, 5.1, which is crazy. Okay, I got Barkley. I've got Garrett Wilson. T. Higgins just went. Who took T. Higgins? Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, T. Higgins. I might do 2 reaches in a row, but honestly, like DK, Andrews, Lamar, Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall's falling, so I don't want to take him here. I kind of want to take him here. Debo, I like. Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going to go Gibbs here. And I don't feel like that's a reach to me because 3.7 feels doable. I'd love for him to fall, but in our community, he won't. And I don't think this is that crazy of a reach. As long as you're making him like a mid-3rd rounder, you're fine reaching a little bit. I reached on Garrett Wilson. I didn't reach on Barkley. I feel like that washed, okay? So I felt like at that point I'm flush. And then I reached a little bit on Jahmyr Gibbs, but I'm going to get back on track. And honestly, this is a case where maybe I did reach a little, okay? Maybe I did reach a little on both my 1st and 3rd rounders, but can anybody look at my team and say I made a mistake? The answer is no. The answer is no. You can come in and Monday morning quarterback my draft, but you're going to walk out saying Smitty's top 3 are really as good as it can get, okay? It's as good as it can get, no matter what he did. He walked out with 3 absolute monsters. Garrett, so at the 1 pick, bro, I mean, the 1 pick, any one of the big 3 quarterbacks, if they fall there, take them. I like Fields and Burrow later, though, and I think that's where the value is for you, Garrett. So maybe you try not to go early quarterback. But if Hurts or Mahomes is there, or Josh Allen, that's tough to pass on at the 2-3 turn. It really is. Fields is too early. Don't take Fields to round 5. Joe Burrow's too early. Don't take him until round 4 or 5. Probably 5. I think Burrow's really going in round 5 like clockwork right now outside of our community. I'd say Chase 1, unless you go Bijan. Pollard or Olave. Those are all good picks right there, bro. But it really just depends on who's on the board. Team number 12, Amon-Ra, Nick Chubb, Debo, Herbert. Very good. A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Lamar, Metcalf at the 11 hole. Number 10 is our boy who just dropped a super chat. He's got it at the 10 spot. Diggs, Josh Allen, Mark Andrews, Mixon. I don't mind that. I don't like Mixon, but I love the first 3 picks. It's not bad at all, bro. Austin Eckler, Olave, Breece Hall, Watson. That's par for the course. That's a great Smitty team. Number 8 hole, Hill. Sounded like I said a-hole. Hill, Adams, Josh Jacobs, and Cooper. I don't think that's our guy at all. That's 3 straight picks that I would not recommend in Adams, Josh Jacobs, and Amari Cooper. So that's that. I mean, I don't know. Oh, ETN's still there. I don't have a lot of ETN. Don't have a lot of ETN, people. I'm gonna let it time out in ETN. I like ETN. I'm pretty good with that. I always queue somebody now. That way, if it times out, and the guy I want to pick, and I don't even have to make the selection. I just let it time out. You know, as I'm looking, give myself a couple extra seconds. Kind of a recommended strategy for me right now. Almost buys you like 2 or 3 extra seconds, because how many times when you're at 4 seconds, you're like, you just draft. Right now, I'm just gonna make sure one guy's queued, that I think I'm going to take, and then I just look around. And if I get a last second thought, I swipe and draft, or I just let it go. It's kind of been my new strategy. Barkley, Gibbs, ETN, Garrett Wilson. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Building a monopoly? What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Mashed potatoes!
I mean, I know I'm getting a little over eager. A little ogre. I'm a little over eager beaver right now. London, good pick. Let's go to the board view. ETN, Keenan Allen, Najee Harris, TJ Hawkinson, Drake London. My boy TMT's got Bijan, Pollard, Derrick Henry, London. Look, TMT, I would have told you your wide receiver crew was going to look pretty thin, and look what you did. You got a really, really solid, underrated wide receiver 1 in Drake London, and I'm proud of you. That's a good crew. Aaron Jones, that's a good running back 1 considering it's your 4th drafted player. DJ Moore, yeah, Fields and DJ Moore, I like the stack. It's a good team. It's a good team. I don't mind it. Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes, Ramondre, Kenneth Walker. I'm really liking that squad. Good job, Wayne. That's really good. That's a really good team. Let's see what TMT does with his next pick coming up. Hopkins, not bad. Okay, TMT, what you doing? We got Avi with a super chat here. Avi says, Wilson over the cheetah is crazy. You can't lie. Well, that's why I have this show, Avi, and you don't, pal. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my platform. You can call it crazy, Avi. You know I appreciate you, but I don't know, bro. I mean, I don't know how it's crazy. How can you argue it's crazy? Do you not see Garrett Wilson going nuts in practice, bro? Do you not see the potential of him being wide receiver 3 overall? Like, how is that crazy? Just because everyone else is doing it, Avi? I don't think so. Garrett dropping yet another super chat. He's on fire. Let's hold on, Garrett. I got to do this, and then I'm going to get I think the test had one. Thank you, the test. Appreciate you. Okay. Wow, you guys are really leaving me. I'm gonna grab. I don't want Pitts really, but I mean I like him. I'm gonna let time out on Pitts. Just take Kyle Pitts here, I guess. Okay, so I don't have a lot of Kyle Pitts shares lately. I'm still excited about him, but so Garrett Wilson, Saquon, Gibbs, ETN, Kyle Pitts. Garrett says, what's Garrett saying here? I agree. I'm thinking JJ, then going Brees and Olave. Definitely taking Fields, Burrow. If they fall to 4-5, I think Brees will be there. Yeah, Brees could fall to 4. So look for Brees in 4, my guy. I think you'll be very pleased with where Brees falls, or where Joe Burrow falls, where Fields falls. The test, ETN or K9. I mean, I had a chance to go K9. I didn't. I went ETN because I wanted to try and get K9 on the way back. I knew he probably wouldn't last to me, and that's okay. I'm going to use the ADP to my advantage as best I can. We got a gifted membership by somebody. Who's dropping gifted memberships? TMT dropping 5. Like an absolute beast. Like an absolute beast.
Let's go! Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy. TMT, appreciate you. Appreciate you very much. The test saying ETN or K9, yeah. You're not going to draft K9 and then ETN. Kenneth Walker, if you draft second, you could get both of them. They're about a round apart, easily. Maybe a round and a half apart. So no matter what I like, don't do it. You know what I mean? Sick Nasty, what's your biggest holdup with DJ Moore? No holdup with DJ Moore. I mean, I talk about him all the time. I just don't know that he's going to be an elite wide receiver 1. I think he's going to be a 1,207 guy, you know, and that's a really good wide receiver too. So my holdup isn't anything other than there's too many big names. I mean, you're talking about, like, look at the wide receivers. If we look at the players in orange real quick before I go on the clock. So you got, you know, Jefferson, Chase, Kupp, Garrett Wilson, Hill, Diggs, A.J. Brown, St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Olave, Devontae. Like, you're already at 10. So, like, how can you put him, in the wide receiver ones? You really can't. Okay. Team so far: Barkley, Gibbs, ETN, Garrett Wilson, Pitts. I guess I'll go. I'm going to go JSN here. In the weeklies, I think that can be huge. In the weeklies, he's very, very much more attractive because even if he starts off slow or you wait for a DK or Lockett injury, you wait for them to implement more 3 wide receiver sets as he learns the offense. This could pop off 1 week for me, and I'm fine. I think JSN's capable of a 2 or 3 TD game. Like, he's that kind of guy. Avi, you're live.
Yo, what's going on?
What's up? What's up, my guy?
I'm liking your team. So far with Garrett Wilson, Barkley, Gibbs.
Look, I didn't mean to snap at you, and I'm not.
No.
Hold on.
I love your take on Wilson.
Hold on.
Wilson is nasty.
Yeah, hold on. When I snap at someone, it doesn't mean I'm mad at them. I got to emphasize my point, number one, and number two, we can disagree in a hostile way that's very respectable. But I think when people say that, like, that's, you said crazy AF, crazy as F. I don't think you can say that. I think you could say you like Hill over Garrett Wilson. You're not there yet. But how are we to the point where we can't say Garrett Wilson, as good as he's looking right now, that it's any form of crazy over Tyreek Hill?
Because Tyreek Hill's been a top 5 wide receiver for 3 straight years, at top 3 most years. So I think I'm not saying Garrett Wilson can't do that, but to take someone who's like 29 years old, who probably is going to have like one more electric season, like, I'd say like he's got one more like crazy season.
You know what it reminds me of?
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of, though? The same thing as the Bijan take. Because you haven't seen it yet.
I like Bijan.
No, I know, but you saying that me taking Garrett Wilson over Kupp or Hill isn't just preference.
Not Kupp. I don't mind.
Hold on. But someone could argue Kupp's over Hill. So I mean, this is what I'm trying to tell you, is that for the stance that you had was hey Smitty, this is crazy as, F.
Yeah.
And I just think that's not something that I think applies. Like, you could say, I couldn't do it. But how are we to a point where Garrett Wilson doesn't look that explosive to you? It's the same argument as Bijan. Maybe you're on board the Bijan argument, but it's no different. Yeah. For me to say Bijan's the running back 1 and Garrett Wilson's the wide receiver 3, those are easily comparable, bold statements that ruffle a lot of feathers, and the conservative Caleb's just can't handle it. Their brain's going to explode. And I feel like it's very parallel to me.
Yeah, I like Aaron Rodgers this year. I think the Jets are going to be good. I think Garrett Wilson's wide receiver like 5 to 7. That's my opinion. I think he's 5. I don't think he's with Chase, JJ, and Hill. Just my opinion. I think you're a little high on him, which, hey, you gotta love your guys, right? That's fantasy football. So,
and I'm fine with that take, but like I said, the take you were bringing to the table, which I'm fine with you disagreeing, is like, it's not. And I defend it so that people know. I want people to know how much I see this playing out. Like, I truly look at this team. Look at this team: Barkley, Gibbs, ETN, Pacheco, Garrett Wilson, JSN, Kyle Pitts. Let's take it straight to the bank. Can you guys hold on? I'll be right back. I don't know if maybe Zell's open right now. I know the local banks aren't open, but I could take this to Zelle, show them my team on a printed out napkin, and I think they give me an advance right away. I think they'll advance it straight off this ticket. Good Lord.
I also think, Wilson, you can get second round, in some leagues, like in a 10 or 12-man league. I think, Tyreek's, more of, a higher player. So I just think taking Wilson over Tyreek in the first round, it's just, a little off.
But a little off to you is not crazy as FU. That's what you were saying. You're saying it's crazy.
No, I'm not saying
as
it's
hell.
Like that.
But you said that. You said that crazy. You're
No,
sitting,
no, no. I do think like it's the wrong pick, but I don't think like I don't think it's like a reach where it's like
I'm telling you,
like
bro.
you're picking like a bad
Garrett
player.
Wilson is going to explode all over
You
the
want
field.
to? I mean, I'm not. You want to make a bet like Tyreek Hill outscores him? I think Tyreek's gonna outscore Garrett Wilson, but I don't think that's a fair. I wouldn't say that's a fair bet. But if you think that's a fair bet,
Let's do this. Hold on. Let me figure something out.
I mean, hey,
I got a challenge for you. I got a challenge for you that I think the audience is gonna like. Hold on. Let me just take a gander through. Oh,
you
God.
got Bijan.
Do I do this? Do I do this? I'm gonna do this. We're almost in round 9. I'm gonna roll the dice because it's weeklies. You guys got to remember this is weeklies. I feel like Kadarius Toney here is intriguing. So I took Kadarius Toney. Maybe he never gets on his horse. Maybe he does. This is weeklies. I don't need him to ball out all year. I mean, of course, I want him to up my chances of winning every single individual week. But I kind of feel like this is a really crafty position to grab him where we're nearly in round 9. We're nearly in round 9. I've got a stable of volatile wide receivers below Garrett Wilson in JSN and Toney, but very, very upside driven. Got Kyle Pitts. I'm feeling really good about this team so far. Okay, here's the challenge, Avi. Here's the challenge. And here's the thing. I've got the balls to do this, but in no way, shape, or form have I said anything that should make somebody approach me and say, "You want to bet?" Because I'm not the one. But hold on. I'm not the one who said, "Oh my God, you're going to take Tyreek Hill over Garrett Wilson." I said, "I'm taking Garrett Wilson over Tyreek Hill." You're the one that had the crazy reaction to it. But I'll still put my balls on the line anyway, since I never once said this couldn't happen. You know, Hill couldn't outscore him. But I'll tell you what.
No.
I'll tell you what. Hold on. I will say, tell me if you're up for the challenge on this. I will say Tyreek Hill 5,000 times in a row on a live stream. If Tyreek, actually, you know what? Hold on. Let me. I want to turn into a positive. I will take. Let's see here. Because I don't want to go on and do a Tyreek Hill.
I like both of these players.
Yeah.
It's nothing like I'm hating on Garrett Wilson.
Let me think. Let me think about the challenge, but it'll be something to the tune of I will come on the show and say 5,000 times something, but I want to make it a positive message for the upcoming season. I don't want to make a video about Tyreek Hill. I want to make a video like I'll come in and do a 5,000 repeated words or player of my next bold prediction or something like that. I'll come out and do that. I'll do it that. But if you lose, you got to come on the live stream and 500 times say, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." And then we'll check in with you from time to time. We'll mute you. I'll make sure you're still doing it though. We'll check in with you. You say "I'm sorry" 500 times straight on the live stream. If I'm wrong, I will do a live stream, and let me think about what I'm going to do in terms of I'll do it 5,000 times. Okay, it'll take me hours.
No, I like it. No,
okay.
I think Tyreek Hill's going to outscore him, but I think Wilson will compete. I mean, I like it. It's going to be a good fantasy season for wide receivers.
TMT. Oh, God, I'm going to time out.
Oh.
Gosh, dang it. What did I get? Burks. Why is it always a player that I'm not really into? Why is it always gotta be a player I'm not super?
ETN's getting slept on. Like if you get ETN as your fourth guy, like I think you're booming. I like ETN.
Why is it always got to be a player? I know you guys are going to say, "Smitty, what's wrong with Burks?" I don't hate Burks there. I really don't hate Burks there. I'm not into Burks. I'm just not into Burks. Is this live? Yes, Paul. It is live, Paul. There's a live draft going on here, pal. A TMT gift and 10 exclusive memberships again. TMT, I appreciate you, TMT. TMT, do you hear me right now? I appreciate you. God, I can't believe I timed that on Burks. This team was absolute fire. Maybe he saves me. Maybe Burks saves me. McKinnon, that's a good pick. I don't mind that. I like the Kamara pick as well. Let's see what this team on the end's doing. Amon-Ra, Nick Chubb, Debo, Justin Herbert, Miles Sanders, Gabe Davis, Quentin Johnson, Alvin Kamara, Jerick McKinnon, Dalton Kincaid. I like it so far. It's pretty good. A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Lamar Jackson, DK Metcalf, Cam Akers. Pretty good. 10 spot, which is our boy, our super chatter. Diggs, Josh Allen, Mark Andrews, Mixon, Mike Williams, Monty, Anthony Richardson, Sky Moore, Damian Harris. Okay. Diggs, Josh. Okay, I like it. Eckler, Chris Olave, Breece Hall, Christian Watson, Christian Kirk, Alexander Madison, Deshaun Watson. Okay, I'm okay with that. All right, I think it's about time I do this. I don't want to push it any longer. Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, I would have taken him with that Burks pick, so it kind of lucked out that it didn't end up hurting me. But I love Aaron Rodgers in this particular build. I've got Garrett Wilson, Rodgers stack. I got Barkley, Gibbs, ETN, Pacheco, Garrett Wilson, JSN, Tony, and Burks, and Kyle Pitts. So I'm feeling pretty good about that squad. The number 8 team, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, I wouldn't draft it that high. Jacobs, I wouldn't take in the 3rd round. Mari Cooper, I wouldn't take in the 4th round. Brandon Ayuk, I wouldn't take in the 5th round. I sure hope this isn't one of my people. If it is, I still appreciate you.
You want to take Adams in the 2nd?
No way.
Yeah.
You know why, Avi. You watch almost every show. Come on, you know why. Why. You may not agree, but you know why I'm saying that.
Devontae, I think Adams in the 2nd round is like.
Let me guess.
Risk.
It's
Devontae. I don't think it's like a.
Let me guess. It's Devontae. Is
I'm
that
taking St. Brown, A.J. Brown, all those guys over him, but.
Well, of course you are.
If he falls like late 2nd, and if I had that pick, I would take him around.
I wouldn't because they're just better players. It's not so much about Adams as much as he just fell below a lot of other players because he literally has no quarterback, bro. He has no quarterback. And his quarterback's unable to get the football down the field, the one that they do have, who's injured, who tricked the team into signing him while he was injured, hid his injury, so much so that they couldn't even have the welcome Jimmy G press conference that he couldn't show up to. They canceled it. They took away his signing bonus. They added it to salary, and they said, you lying piece of whatever, you better come in and pass your physical or we're releasing you. And you know Jimmy G was going to crawl in and barely pass his physical like he did, get his money like he always does, and he's going to go down by week 5. There's no hope for Adams unless he gets traded, which maybe he gets traded. Maybe he gets traded. We got Terry Roberts dropping 5 gifted memberships.
Adams is going to get 20 targets a game, though, and they're going to be losing. Like, I think he's a decent, like, he's still Devontae Adams. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with him.
Okay.
I don't know.
I know.
Like,
that's what everybody says. That's what everybody says. Oh, he's Adams. He's Adams. Have you ever seen Adams without a quarterback that could throw the football down the field? No,
last year.
No, he played with Derek Carr, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Hold on.
He had a few nasty games with.
Hold on. He's one of the best. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league at throwing downfield, regardless of his flaws. You know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to take Tank Bigsby just to back up ETN. I think I might be done with my running back stable. That's pretty good. I don't think, but the problem is Jimmy G cannot throw downfield. In order for Adams to survive, he needs to have Jimmy G taken out off the field, whether it's by an alien abduction or, I don't want to say injury because no one wants injury for any player, but if he gets hurt, then maybe he's got a shot. Or if he gets traded, maybe he has a shot. But I don't think he can get traded because it's a darn hard contract to trade. So
no, I think you're sleeping on Adams and Tyreek Hill a little this year. I'm not gonna lie; those two still got one more year in them. They're only 30. I'm not saying you're like not to be wrong, but I think you're.
But where have I said I've down? Where have I said I've faded Tyreek Hill? Where have I?
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I feel like you're like down on like a little.
I'm not down on Tyreek Hill. I'm not down on Tyreek Hill.
No, you're not. No, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people, I'm just saying, Avi. A lot of people put words in my mouth and assume a lot of things.
No.
And you just said that I'm fading Tyreek Hill and I'm fading, or I'm sleeping on Tyreek Hill. I'm not sleeping on Tyreek Hill. I just like Garrett Wilson more.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all it is. It's not about anything else. And I'm still taking Tyreek Hill in the first round. Adams has no quarterback throwing the football. That's my argument. Jacobs, not touching him. Adams, not going near him. These guys are my line in the sand for when they flip into value is so far downstream. I'll never see him. I'll never draft Adams unless I time out, which I've done. I've done it. I've done it at least twice.
No, I love your take. You got it. Like I do the same thing. Like I roll with my guys. I like that's fantasy.
Smitty, I thought you was about best player available and then trade with them. Who's the best player available, though? That's the whole thing, Casey. Best player available is not based on average draft position. I'm just telling you that Adams is not the best player available. Why would I draft a guy I don't believe is the best player available and then trade him? I think what you're thinking, Casey, and it's okay. A lot of people do get confused by best player available. I think you're thinking what I mean is who's the top-ranked guy. That's not what best player available is. I'll reach on Gibbs in the middle of 3, even if his ADP is 4.4 or 4.3, if he's the best player available. I'll take Bijan at 1.1 over going 1.4, 1.5 if he's the best player available, and he is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Best player available is different than I think you're thinking. Let's go with... What?
No, you go.
Well, I got to draft real quick. Hold on. God, I don't know about these receivers. I hate drafting Russell Wilson. I was going to time out, and I'm like, just give me another quarterback. Did TMT drop another 10? I can't tell. TMT, did you just drop another 10? That might be old, but either way, what a monster. Okay, go ahead, bro. Let me see if there's another caller on here that I added. I think they might have hung up. I'm sorry, bro. Call back, guys. Phone line's open.
Call into the
Oh
show.
my God,
Call into the show.
What, Avi?
I forgot what I was gonna say. You know when that happens? I have no clue what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something. Wait.
So here's a common, and look, Austin, I'm not trying to pick apart your argument. I'm just trying to use it. Here's a common response I get about Adams. Adams can get open at all levels, just not deep balls. I think he's undervalued, to be honest. The problem is, though, this is not an offense that's going to be conducive to that type of play. I think that the whole offense is going to be very disappointing from top to bottom. I think it's going to be Jimmy G, prove it. You can win the game. Let's make Jimmy G win the game. Stack boxes, shut down the run. You got your almost 400 touch running back, which leads to injury about 80% of the time when you get about 400 total touches. He's holding out, which increases his injury risk. We're talking about Josh Jacobs, twofold. And then on top of that, he's going to be facing 8-man fronts. He's unhappy. He doesn't want to play there. Devontae Adams doesn't want to play for Jimmy G. Josh Jacobs doesn't want to play for Jimmy G. And when people come in and say that's not true, I have to ask you, and I want someone to answer this question, because those that say it's not true, then answer. I'm waiting for an answer. I've never got an answer that satisfies the question. If Jacobs wanted to play with Jimmy G, and if Adams wanted to play with Jimmy G, why are both of them extremely unhappy? Why did Adams say this is not the path or direction he wanted to take this team when they signed Jimmy G? Why is Jacobs, who said I will gladly sign my franchise tag if they're going to reload and go after a championship? And now Jacobs doesn't want anything to do with the team unless they give him a long-term deal, which is his only hope of getting one, because he knows what this season holds for him. Like, it's either play out and get hurt or accept a deal with a team that you're frustrated with. And you're like, I would have signed the franchise tag with you if we would have loaded up and had an electric offense that would have showcased him more and allowed him to play well. Now he knows he's not going to play well.
Yeah. The Raiders are hard. It's going to be a hard year.
Jacobs is in trouble. Jacobs is in trouble.
Yeah.
The running game being in trouble and being focused on and shut down is going to only make Jimmy G's job harder. And this argument, what I was just about to say is this argument right here. Adams gets open. You don't know that, Austin. You've never seen Adams play a season without Derek Carr, who laser locks like Aaron Rodgers with deep passes downfield. He fed him, 14 touchdowns, 1,300 and something yards, and 100 plus receptions. That Aaron Rodgers and Carr are very similar in terms of their ability to throw the ball down the field, get air yards out there, and feed a wide receiver downfield. So when people say this statement here, it just makes me like cringe. And Austin, I love you. I don't mean that toward you. But a lot of people use this statement. Adams can get open. He's Adams. You've never seen Adams outside of that environment, ever. No. Look at Randy Moss went to the Raiders and fell apart. And then he went to New England and he exploded again. Like we know this. We've seen this before. This is not the first time that this is going to go down this way. Let's see here. On that note,
Yeah, but the Bijan, like first overall, like you could do that. I'm actually on board with that. But if you have first pick this year, I'd just say take Justin Jefferson. I think he's just like if you have first pick, take Jefferson.
Give me Chase, baby. Give me Chase. Give me Bijan or Jefferson.
Yeah.
I love all of them. But hold on, someone wants the Moon Man list.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
New addition today, Mr. Calvin Ridley. If anybody missed the evening show,
Space Monsters.
Look at this man.
Yes, sir.
Look at this man. He took Tony's spot, and I still love Tony, but we got to lock this thing down and put it. It looks so strong. Kincaid and Chigakonkwo. Tank Dell is the wild card late. Smash. Total like rags to riches guy on the list. That's why he's kind of in the corner. T-Law and Fields. Burrow might end up on this list just because he's falling so far. London, Pickens, Dotson, Ridley, Watson, Olave, Wilson, Bijan, Gibbs, Pollard, Hall, Swift, Pacheco, Sharps, the Cuffs. Unbelievable. Ridley looks so good on there.
Yeah, I'm staying away from that Seahawks backfield, though. I can't lie.
Oh, boy.
I'm just staying away.
Did you just say you're staying away from the Seahawks backfield?
Yeah, no, I haven't drafted any of the Seattle backs really. I take like Najee Harris over Walker in that situation. I don't know.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
Yeah.
Avi, I gotta say, Avi, I think we agree sometimes, but I'm starting to think you and I are not closely aligned on some things, pal. I mean, you just said one of the worst things you could have said on this channel. You're staying away from the. First of
all the other movement. I love Gibbs.
How could you not like Walker in the 5th round? And if you say, well, I like him there, that's where he's going, Avi.
No, 5th round.
Avi, that's where he's going. That's where he's going, Avi. That's where he's going. Like clockwork.
No, that could be fine.
Yeah, of course it could be fine.
No, 4th round, no, but fine. 5th is straight.
I mean, 4th round is great too, but I mean, come on, Avi.
Yeah. I just think Seattle's a running football team. I just don't know who's going to be the main guy. I honestly have no clue. I don't know why they drafted him. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Thomas will be awesome this year. You talking about Michael Thomas, bro? There's so many Michael.
He'd be okay.
There's so many Michael Thomas truthers. I don't even understand it. Like I could, it's so weird because Michael Thomas truther. Like I wouldn't have a problem with them if they came in here and said, "Kind of believe Michael Thomas could be a pretty good value this year." But no, instead they usually come in really heavy. Like Junior Soprano says, "Come in heavy, don't come in at all." And next time you show up, and they literally come in and they say, like Michael Thomas is going to outscore Olave. Michael Thomas is going to bounce back to be a top 5 wide receiver. He could still be the number 1 wide receiver in the league. That's too much, bro. It's too much. All right, guys, dial in. We need more people on the phone line. I don't know what you guys are doing.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I had Michael Thomas in 2019. Though. That was a fun season, but don't know what happened after. 2019, Michael Thomas.
Dial in. What's a Michael Thomas? I don't know what that means, bro. Thomas is in a contract year. He will play this year. I don't think that's how it works, Boston Strangler. I don't think that's how it works. Oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and drag my broken body out onto the field. It's a contract year. I'm gonna play this year. And the way you phrase that too, though, is like he's been deciding not to play. Like he's deciding it. Like, oh, this year he'll play this year. He'll decide to show up. It's a contract year. Let me tell you this: contract year or not, it makes no difference. He's not getting crap in 2024 in terms of a contract, bro. Like the guy's broken and worn down. Like there's no way. It doesn't matter. Contract year. Mike Thomas.
No, like you have to play. Like even if it's your contract, you can't just like not sit out. It's not going to help you. Like what happened with Le'Veon Bell, I think was like big for running backs when he sat out and then he was bad. You can't sit out anymore. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna go ahead and show up this year. Like that's gonna. Okay. Anyway, MT will ball out. Okay. I'm sure he will.
What about? I'm feeling Watson too.
I love you though, Boston. I love you. Who?
I like Watson late. Let's say like I don't end up getting the QB. You know, I'm just.
He's okay. Avi, we don't see eye to eye on my. Watson's okay, but
you don't like Watson at all.
Avi, do you watch any of? You're starting to make me think you don't watch any of my content at all.
He's Amari Cooper.
I don't love Amari Cooper. Avi, hold on. I'm telling you, you haven't watched the show in a long time. You haven't.
You don't like the Browns?
Why are you asking me a question you either already know the answer to, or you haven't watched any of my shows? Hold on one second.
No, I have.
Terry Roberts, you're live. Hold on.
Hey, Avi, you need to check out Smitty's website too. Deshaun is quarterback 10, bro.
Terry coming in with the
QB 10, like. I mean, that's like, you need that. You might need that if you're the last in your draft.
You'll regret making fun of MT, Smitty. Okay.
If you don't grab a guaranteed QB, you're pretty much done.
If you're in a 12-man league, someone's gonna have Watson.
Yeah, but you know what? You don't have to be that guy. You could. You could be the guy that gets Burrow in 5. You could be the guy that gets Fields
like,
in 5.
If I don't get like a Fields or Joe B, I get stuck.
Yeah.
I might go Watson.
If you crap the bed 3 rounds in a row and you don't get Burrow, you don't get Fields, you don't get T-Law, you don't even Herbert. If Herbert's your guy, then you can go after Deshaun Watson if you want. Yeah. But I just feel like, Avi, you literally have not watched anything I've produced all offseason long.
I'm busy.
Because
I'm at camp.
I know, but you're coming in here and asking some of the most known things about me. And for like it's almost like everyone's
Deshaun Watson's good.
Everyone's
I don't know.
And I don't want any new person to think
he was
can't.
good 4 years ago when he played for Houston. Yeah.
I don't want a new person. I don't want a new person. Hold on. I don't want a new person to come in and say like, oh, Smitty doesn't like when you don't know his stuff. Like that's not. Avi's an avid listener that's been here for years now.
He is.
He's been here for years and he doesn't know a thing about me anymore. He doesn't know a thing about me. He's literally going, you don't like Watson, bro. I talk about it all the time.
Oh, look, Watson took a year off. He was rusty. Now he's a full train. Like I think Watson mid-season could get back to him old self. Like he's shown he could be elite.
Well, and I think the move to Cleveland really hurt him, and not to mention he's really rusty. So
why the Browns
until he shows it again, I'm out. And where's he? Where are you going to put him? You got 9 other people in front of him. There ain't no room.
I mean, that's what it comes down to for me. I mean, if we take a look at this board view,
you're right.
Let's look at the board view. Okay, you got first quarterback was Mahomes in round 2. We're gonna go this way. Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar. I'm not saying this is my order, but Burrow, Fields, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. That's 8. And then I think this is something you would say is crazy, Avi. I could just hear it right now. Aaron Rodgers.
I like Rodgers.
Easily. That's 9. That's quarterback 9. I'll say something else, Avi. I'll say something else, Avi. And I'm not saying I'd draft him over Watson because you don't need to, but I think Jordan Love might outscore
him. Nah. I don't know.
Nah, he says.
I think it's going to be close.
Herbert is a movement.
Deshaun, I'm not arguing that, Avi. I just don't think there's any room for Deshaun to go any higher than where he's at.
Thank you for the super chat. Look, I know a lot of people aren't going to love the Jordan Love take that I just said, but you know what? I think if Hopkins had gone to Cleveland, we'd be reassessing the situation. We'd be going, okay, Watson's now going to get a comfortable, face back. That
he has Nick Chubb and Cooper.
Okay, but he also, bro, didn't allow Nick Chubb to score a single rushing touchdown. And he did play well his last 2 games, but there was a lot of rust, and there was no real sign, in my opinion, that he's going to be consistent moving forward. I need to see more. Like Terry said, I'm out until because there's so many other options. And I know a lot of people are going to laugh at the Jordan Love take. Like Joel says, Jordan Love, laughing emoji, which is funny until it's not, Joel. It's funny until it's not. It's funny because you're not looking ahead of the curve and you're thinking that Watson is some lock to not fall apart, some lock to not have some other scandal pop up, some lock to not have so much pressure by this, what is thought to be the worst trade in NFL history and the worst contract in NFL history. Both on top of, these are the same player, worst trade and worst contract in NFL history, and you're out here defending him over a guy who we don't even know what's in store, but an organization that has had 2 quarterbacks since the early 90s. Like, I'm not saying that's going to necessarily repeat itself. It's not like it's guaranteed that no matter what, they just get another quarterback for 15 years. I'm just saying that we're hearing so many good things out of Jordan Love camp, and I think that the Green Bay offense is going to be quite surprising, and I don't think it is crazy whatsoever. Not at cost like you're going to draft Love over Watson, but
the other day you even got me into the Green Bay offense. I had questions about Watson 100%, and I'm like, what? And Jordan Love, because the Green Bay apparently loves him, so let's go.
Yeah. I mean, Austin, you're welcome to call in and debate this, but the thing is, like, what do you have to stand on but 2 games? What do you have to stand on but 2 games? Like, how is this crazy? How is this crazy whatsoever? Like, you don't know what Jordan Love's going to be. I heard the same thing about, and I'm not saying he's the next Hurts. What do I need right here? Hold on. I got to see what I need. I need a backup tight end. Good Lord. Let's go. Ferguson. Let's go Jelani.
I have no clue what to think of the Packers at all.
Let's go Jelani. I'll put this on the board.
Hey, Smitty, I have a question about Alvin Kamara. You got him as RB21. Are you a little worried about his performance this year?
Well, I mean, you got to price him right. But he certainly could be a top 15 running back. He could be a top 10 running back. We don't really know. I don't know how long he could be a top 10 running back. I feel like the mileage is big. But I don't know. I definitely think that there's opportunity for Kamara to completely explode from his ADP. His ADP's in an underdog in the 7, 8, 9 territory. We thought it was going to climb, but it didn't. It didn't climb at all. All right, hold on one second, boys. Yeah. Hold on one second. You're live from the 205. Who's this? Okay. Wayne, what's up? You're live. What's up, Wayne? What's going on?
I'm gonna take this. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna take this guy. I don't even know who I'm taking here.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Love being better than Watson this year.
Well, it's not gonna be an exciting take because it's bold. People don't like bold. And not to mention, like I said, and a lot of people won't listen to this because they don't hear. They just hear one thing and they don't. We're talking about cost of entry. Yeah. Like I said that 3 times. Cost of entry, I like Jordan Love's odds better than going to Deshaun Watson. And I'm not saying I'm starting Deshaun Watson or Jordan Love. I'm saying I take a quarterback like Fields, like Joe Burrow, and I'm just never going near Watson at his ADP. I'd rather draft Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. I'd rather grab those guys, especially as my QB2 and best ball here on Underdog. I'm excited about Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love has got a lot of upside. I think he can make pretty much any throw. I think he's going to have a little bit of ups and downs at times, but this is an offense that's got a lot of weapons. This is a kid that's getting praised by his defense constantly. And I know they're overpraising him to the point where it's hard to even believe it, right? When Jair Alexander says he's the best quarterback in the league, that's ridiculous to say that. And I think it's so ridiculous that people aren't taking any part of it seriously, and they're just kind of blowing it off because they're like, if this guy thinks he's the best quarterback in the league, I'm totally discrediting his opinion entirely. But I got to tell you, this is par for the course on anything that hasn't happened yet. And so it's crazy to me that whenever it takes bold or a player hasn't done anything yet, everybody's got this assumption that it can't happen. Like it can't happen. That the opinion of people talking about Deshaun Watson, who has proven nothing. He's proven nothing in Cleveland. But his last 2 games, he started to look good. There's some momentum there. But he's proven nothing but disappointment there. Your running back, Nick Chubb, didn't score 1 single rushing touchdown the entire last 6 games when he went in. Like
Watson was there for like 5 games. Like he was barely in the system. I think that takes a little bit of Watson did.
I understand that, but he's also been out of football for a while, and so he came back and he was extremely rusty. And just but to assume that he's going to be perfect, but Jordan Love can't be surprising, that's where there's a discrepancy to me. And I'm not saying that Jordan Love is a lock. I'm not saying I want to draft him as my starter. I'm just saying at cost of entry, I like Jordan Love more than banking on Deshaun Watson when I can get a Jahan Dotson there. I can get Isaiah Pacheco sometimes there. I can get a Zach Charbonnet. I don't like the cost of entry of Deshaun Watson. Everybody thinks it's such a great value. I have no interest in drafting Deshaun Watson in 2023. I have no interest in trusting him. I don't need to trust him. And I don't even care if I'm wrong because I'll have such a better quarterback than that anyway. So the Jordan Love hate is crazy. The Jordan Love hate is unwarranted. And I'm not saying that the Jordan Love belief has any more support than the Deshaun Watson, belief or the bounce back that everyone thinks he's going to have. But it's easily arguable on both sides, but nobody likes to play that card because they haven't seen it yet. It can't happen. It can't happen. Why can't it happen? Why can't it happen? What I've seen of him, pretty solid. And we don't have a big window, but we do have some film to look at, and he moved the ball effectively. He connected with Christian Watson. Watson looks amazing. Dobbs loves him. The entire team loves him. The entire defense loves him. And one thing I know for certain is that when your entire team in camp is rallying around a guy the way that they are, they're seeing stuff. They're not just assuming stuff. They're seeing stuff. They believe it. They feel like it's going to come to fruition, and he's got support like I haven't seen in a long time for a quarterback that has to come out and prove himself. So I think people need to give a double look at Jordan Love at his cost of entry. At his cost of entry, you do not draft him over a Deshaun Watson or anyone in that territory because he's not going there. That's where I think a lot of people are going to get this all wrong. They're just going to hear this. They're going to go, Smitty's going to draft Jordan Love over Watson. You're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. I'm saying Jordan Love at cost of entry is better. Jordan Love at cost of entry is better. I'm not going near Watson at his ADP. There's so many other players that are still on the board about to fall off that I'd rather scoop up and grab. I don't trust Deshaun Watson. I haven't seen enough from him to believe he's going to bounce back. I've seen the rushing attack get affected when he's in the game, which makes me concerned a little bit for Nick Chubb. Even though Nick Chubb's yardage was good, his touchdowns were good. His yards per carry were good. His touchdowns were non-existent. His rushing touchdowns didn't have one. This guy was leading the NFL in like almost every category through like the first month and a half, and he was a touchdown monster. And it completely altered the game, putting Watson under center. And I just don't know what to expect in Cleveland.
That's fair. I think it's a fair statement.
Yeah, we'll see. I think if
what do you think of Deshaun Watson's ADP, Smitty? You think it's too high?
Watson?
No.
Watson's ADP? Well, I just told you
Yeah,
I don't want to buy him at his cost of entry. I don't think it's crazy, but it's not something that's entertained to me. Who is Watson throwing to? Who is Love throwing to? Do you even watch football, Strangler?
Yeah.
You're starting to make me question whether you're even watching football, Boston Strangler. I don't even know what you're talking.
Cooper not good?
No, is Christian Watson not good?
He's good, but Amari Cooper's good.
Yeah, but no,
Bobo's okay.
Read his question. His question says, "Who is Watson throwing to? Who is Love throwing to?" I'm not saying Cooper's. I'm not saying he doesn't have weapons, but what in the hell is he talking about? Christian Watson, Aaron Jones. Dobbs has upside. Jaden Reed's a nice option. Luke Musgrave's a big target. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Boston?
I mean, Cooper's more proven than Watson. Like, you're not going to tell me.
But
like, I'm not. Watson won't be better this year. But
what are we doing? What are we doing here? Are we only going off last year?
Yeah.
Are we not being predictive here, Avi? I'd take Christian Watson over Amari Cooper every single day.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking about? What are we talking about here then?
In real life, Amari Cooper made Watson a little better in fantasy, though. I'm saying, like, he might overlook. Like, he's not better than Watson, though.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Watson's number one receiver, but that's it. I think the offense can't move the ball.
Watson's 6'4", runs a 4.28 40. Can run for about 200, 230 yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns on the ground. He's a Deebo Samuel type player, and they're going to use him on the ground too. Green Bay's going to make people regret. I'm not saying Green Bay's going deep into the playoffs or even making the playoffs, because it's going to be hard for them to grab a wild card spot, to be honest with you. It's going to be hard, but it doesn't mean they're not going to turn some heads considering, and be like, wow, yeah. Green Bay really put like Detroit last year, and I think they put together that kind of season. The Jordan Love hate is just crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I don't even understand. And again, some of this comes back to, it's not that I think you can't say Deshaun Watson's better than Jordan Love, like at the end of the year, but for people to be so adamant as if they found the flux capacitor and gone back in time and they know the answer to a guy named Deshaun Watson, who is not playing for well over a year. And he literally has rust on him, walks in, and everyone just assumes everything's going to go back together and that Jordan Love can't excel. It's so close-minded to say it's not possible or that it's crazy. It's close-minded. It is close-minded. Just like it would be close-minded if I was to say, You're crazy for liking Watson over Jordan Love, which I've not said to any one of you that think that Watson's better than Jordan Love. The closed-mindedness of a bold prediction is sometimes head-scratching to me. Just head-scratching to me.
No, Jordan Love, he could be good. I have no clue how he's going to do. Like, nobody can hate on him yet. I don't know how you could hate on him. I don't know how you could way overhype him. He's just, yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I wish, Strangler, I wish you were in my league. I'll just tell you that. You're definitely a what have you done for me before I believe in you type of guy. And those are the people I love to draft against. Super chats. Let me make sure I got all the super chats. Austin says Herbert is a Moon Man. Smitty, maybe to you. He certainly could get back there for me, but I need to see it before I'm putting him on the Moon Man list. Garrett, my guy. Garrett, you're still the number one super chatter of the year, aren't you? Everybody drop Garrett's eggplant and gorilla emoji 600. He dropped a $600 wad on the screen. Garrett is the number one super chatter of the year in a single live stream. Garrett, congratulations, my guy. I don't know how long Garrett's going to keep the title. Let me see if I have it somewhere here. Here it is. Gifted memberships of all time in one live stream was Double D. Where's DW been? Where's DW been? I haven't seen him on a late night live stream in a while. But DW, 250 gifted memberships in one evening. It was absolutely crazy. Biggest super chat of all time, Ron Navy 765. Garrett, biggest super chat in 2023 in a single live stream, 600. Anybody knocks Garrett off, they get their own emoji. Currently, Garrett has his own emoji. It's all his. It's the eggplant and gorilla emoji. So please drop that in the live chat for Garrett. Drop it right now. There it is. I can see it now. Thank you. Appreciate you, Garrett. Garrett in the house, baby. Garrett says the Mike Thomas wave is building. Late to the party. He loves Mike Thomas. Herbert, appreciate that. Sick Nasty, Detest. Thank you, Detest, for your super chat. Garrett, appreciate you. Avi, James, Garrett, Dan the Grim Reacher, thank you for dropping your super chats. And let's keep rolling. Let me cycle over to Wayne Solo. You keep trying to call in, and when I try to answer it, it won't go through. Did it go through this time, Wayne? Every time I hit accept, it hangs up on you or something, or you hang up, or your phone's not having it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Smitty has the setup, but not the knowledge. Okay, Boston. Okay, Boston. What about? Hey, Boston, should I just pack it all in? Did I build all this for nothing? Damn it. They told me I was good at it, Boston, and I thought I'd go all in. It's my first year doing it, Boston.
I think both quarterbacks are going to struggle in their divisions this year, respectively. But I do like Love's value at his ADP, but I think Watson's value at his ADP. I don't think it's going to be. We're not going to see it probably higher than what it is this year in any given year. I don't think.
I agree.
It's one of those things though that I can understand someone coming in and saying either thing. That's all I'm trying to say. Like if someone likes Watson, that's fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal for somebody to say I like Watson being top 7. Top 6. Like I accept that. I don't agree with it, but I accept that. But it's just crazy to me that we can't even talk about bold predictions anymore without people like Boston going completely AWOL over it. So it reminds me, I can almost guarantee you Boston was a total anti Jalen Hurts person. I can almost guarantee it. And I can guarantee you he's going to comment right now and say, no, I actually liked him. But anyway. Garrett, I know.
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah, what's up?
Smitty, I I'm thinking in my redraft. I got a redraft coming up at the end of August, right? Well, I'm thinking I got pick 8, and my cousin already told me he's going to take Bijan at 1. Smart man, of course. But I'm thinking to shock everybody, I'm probably going to pick Mahomes and Kelsey. Do a double stack to start the redraft.
So you go Kelsey, then Mahomes, you mean? 1 QB?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I think it's safe. It's a safe move. You know why I like it though, Terry? Because, and this is no offense to your league, but from what I remember last year, you got away with a lot of our guys late. And I have a feeling that if you do that and you get that quality up front, you're going to see Olave fall. You're going to see Kenneth Walker fall. You're going to end up DMing me or messaging me later on after the draft, and you're going to say, Smitty, not only did I get Kelsey and Mahomes, I then got, I got Olave, then I got Gibbs, then I got Walker, and I just have a feeling that's how it's going to go for your draft. So I Smitty, approve your approach, because if you get that quality at the top, I think you're going to get the steals done in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds, bro. I think it's a smart move.
I mean, I love that stack. I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and try it out and see if I can do anything with it this year.
Yeah. That's good. All right, let's go on over to Wayne. What else what do you make of the ETN conversation we had earlier in the evening? ETN going in the 4th round. Let's call it 4.1. You love it? 4.1.
Like in best ball, I'll take him. Yeah, I'll take him at the turn. Or
so
I'm going to try to make sure I get Tank Bigsby in like the best ball leagues, obviously.
I think 4.5 for ETN would be sweet. That'd be unbelievable. I think 3.5. I think 3.5 will be a little risky, but like it could still very much work out.
I've been seeing him consistently in round 4, so I think at that point, I'm buying in best ball, but I'm also taking Bigsby too.
Yeah, you got to cuff him. Bigsby's probably Bigsby's probably a top 10 cuff in fantasy football, easily. Maybe top 7. Charbonnet would be number 1. I think there are a handful of cuffs that make sense, but I mean, McKinnon's not even really a cuff. McKinnon's not really even a cuff. It would be Prince that would probably be the technically the cuff, but I think if, let's say, Pacheco went down, even though McKinnon wouldn't actually replace him, he'd kind of stay in his role. I think McKinnon, his uptick in value would be so high that you can call him a cuff. So McKinnon and Pacheco are one of the most important cuffs. That's why on the Moon Man list you see these guys on there.
The Moon Men.
And you see the cuffs.
Dropping loads in outer space.
I don't have any other starting Moon or any other Moon Men running back
Space Monsters
that has the cuffs included, but and I even put cuffs here because we don't fully know if, let's say, McKinnon gets injured or it's still going to be vital. I want it to be known that it's the cuffs. Charbonnet and Walker are a must. That's definitely one of the biggest handcuffs. But I would say Tank Bigsby and Etienne. If you get both of them, you're pretty protected. You're pretty protected. I'm trying to call in. Okay, Austin, try one more time, bro. There might be a problem with the line today because Wayne kept calling and I kept accepting and it just not at him. I don't know if it's something to do. Once in a while, somebody's phone line doesn't play nice with everybody else's, and I don't know why that does that. But try one more time, Austin.
You may try to get off Smitty and see if me getting off.
No, I don't think. Well, yeah. Let me swing you guys off. Let me swing you guys off, and then Avi, you got any final thoughts? You've been on a while. We'll give Avi a boot anyways.
Yeah, no, I have. Actually, no, I do have one question to you. It's not that long, but so I did that Fields, Ridley, Hawkinson trade and Knox in that Superflex. I traded Chase, Daniel Jones in the Superflex. I think I won that pretty good. Yeah. I like Ridley and Fields.
Yeah. Yeah, Austin, hang tight real quick. We I don't have that on the board anymore, but it was Fields.
Yeah.
You got Fields and Ridley and who?
And Knox.
Okay, Fields, Ridley, and Knox. Yeah, and you had Hawkinson.
Traded.
You lost on the Hawkinson side of it, but it's still in a super flex. Fields is top 6 overall. Just absolute smash.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Just an absolute smash, bro. So good job. I like it. All right, Avi. Appreciate you.
I'll see you later.
All right. Let's go over to Austin real quick. Austin, what can I do for you? You're live.
Now I was gonna ask, why don't you think Herbert's a movement, man?
Well, it's more about we don't have room for everybody. You know, like
That's true.
And so like what I gotta pick and choose. And I think until he bounces back, and in no way, shape, or form am I hating on him, calling him a bust or anything like that. And for some reason, when I pick Fields and T-Law to outscore him, I have people that claim that that's me hating on him, and it's not me hating on him. It's just me saying, look, he's got the ability to be a top 5 fantasy football quarterback year in and year out. He's for sure got that ability. His offense is changing, hopefully for the better. I mean, he's got Moore did great in Dallas and had a potent offense, and you got to think that there's potential there. But, you know, will he play nice with the pieces that are there? He likes to run multiple running backs, and I don't know if you want to do that with Eckler because Eckler's so dominant. Will he adjust to that? Will he do well with that? What if Eckler gets hurt? He's older. What if I think Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, I forget the number, but I want to say it was like 4 or 5 games those guys played together last year. Quentin Johnston's still very decent, but very raw. And I know he's made a couple big catches in camp, and everyone's excited about him, but there's a very wide, blanket consensus by analysts everywhere that he doesn't play up to his size. He's one of the bigger wide receivers in the draft class, and he plays like the smallest. He should be dominating the space around him, and he plays very soft. But he's made some big catches, so he's been impressive, I admit. But, I think me waiting for him to bounce back versus vaulting him above 2 guys I think that are going to explode in T-Law and Fields. I think they just explode. There just isn't room for Herbert above those guys in my eyes. Doesn't mean Herbert's not, going to be bad. But I'm not putting him on the Moon Man list because T-Law and Fields are exploding on that list. And I just don't have room for everybody. But I like Herbert. I hope he bounces back.
I know he was hurt last year, but I think I agree with Fields, but personally, I think he's over T-Law.
Well, you know who else was hurt? Pretty much everybody, bro. I'm not trying to say that Herbert's injuries weren't different, but Fields was hurt. Josh Allen was hurt. Mahomes was hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I can't really use that as an excuse last year. Because all those guys were hurt very badly.
He had a rib injury in like week 3. It was really early.
It was, but I mean, all those other guys were still balling out, and they were hurt too. So I'm not trying to say
I'm
not trying to say he's going to bust him.
Good. And I like him with Kellen Moore too.
I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen. I'm just waiting and seeing. That's all.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about busting. It's not that I don't love him. It's not that he can't be a top 5 or 6 quarterback this year. He certainly could. And I liked him as much as anybody last year. We all loved him. We all loved him. He was in the top 3 quarterbacks consensus across the board in fantasy football. He was in the top 3. We weren't wrong that the talent's there. It's just a matter of what's it all mean? What do the mixed numbers mean? Because he's got the passing yards, but he's throwing so many times. Like one could argue he should have bigger numbers than he had because he threw the ball like 40 plus times a game. So like you could look at his yards per completion and be like, and you can and say, man, he should have like way more yards than that. He should have like 80 to 100 more yards a game. So we'll see what happens. But
I am with you on Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Ridley looks good.
I think he's been I think he's getting way undervalued.
And T-Law looks good.
Ridley looks explosive.
Yeah, and with Ridley exploding, with Zay Jones, with Evan Ingram, with Christian Kirk, ETN, Bigsby, like the offense is loaded. In a weak division, Jacksonville's just going to, score so many points.
They're going to take that division really simple.
I hear people keep saying that Ridley has too much competition at receiver, but I'm like, we just saw him with Julio Jones be what was he? Was he top 5?
Ridley was on the verge of breaking into the top 1 to 5 wide receivers before he was raptured from the NFL.
Yeah, he was easy. He could have been a top 5. He was climbing.
And yeah, he was primed for a top 1 to 5 wide receiver season. And I think he soiled all of our expectations so much that it's hard to it's hard to accept that this isn't going to be disappointing. I think it's the natural feeling. It's kind of like he went out to get some ice and he never came back from the hotel room. I'm going to go get some ice. I'll be right back. Walked out, never returned. And now he comes back 2 years later. And it's like, hey, do you trust me to go get ice again? And we're like, I don't know. I hope so. You look real quick. You look real speedy. I'm going to go ahead and trust you again. So we're all holding our breath a little bit, right? But he looks so explosive and quick right now. If he doesn't get hurt, I don't see how he's not a top 7 wide receiver in fantasy football. I just don't see how. He looks too good. He's got too good of a situation. He's got too good of a quarterback. He's got an easy division he can beat up on. There's just no explanation other than injury that I can come up with that won't have Calvin Ridley playing as a at least middle of the pack wide receiver 1, which means 6, 7. Wide receiver.
What is his ADP right now?
It feels like 4th round, but it's all over the map, depending on ESPN, Sleeper, Underdog. It feels like he's hovering around. On Underdog, it feels like it's in the 3rd round, like the 3.5 to 4th round territory. And ESPN, I'm sure it's all over the place. I don't even know. On Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Ridley has an ADP of 30.7. Which is in the 3rd round, unfortunately, right in the middle. And so,
what receivers are getting taken over?
You what?
I'm trying to think of what receivers are getting taken over him.
Lots of them, bro. Metcalf, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Adams, and of course everybody from St. Brown and above. But DK Metcalf, give me Calvin Ridley. I can understand someone going DK, but give me Calvin Ridley. T. Higgins, give me Calvin Ridley. Because he's the number 1 for his offense. It's still going to be the potency in Jacksonville comparatively to he's Joe Burrow and the potency. It's not a difference to me. The number one in Jacksonville. The number 1 in Jacksonville can outperform the number 2 in Cincinnati. I have no problem. This would be like a case where T. Higgins could be better than DJ Moore. DJ Moore's the number 1 in his offense, but we're expecting, even though I think Fields could ball out, throw for 3,800, 4,000, 30, we'll call it 3,500 plus yards, because everyone gets their panties in a bunch when you say you could throw for 4,000 because they haven't seen it. Oh, Fields can't do that because of last year. Because I'm not researching anything, and I'm just going to say there's no way he didn't do it last year. Fields had no wide receivers, but that's neither here nor there, and I don't have the energy to debate people on something that's ridiculous and that Fields can't be a 3,500-plus yard passer. It's ridiculous. But DJ Moore, even in a great environment like that, DJ Moore, 1,200 yards? 1,200 yards and 7 TDs, I think that's reasonable. 1,150, 1,200 yards, something like that. And I'd rather have T. Higgins as the number 2 in his potent Joe Burrow smoking attack versus, DJ Moore. But those are arguable. I wouldn't fault anybody for wanting DJ Moore over T. Higgins. But that's one of those things where it's like, okay, give me the number 1. But T. Higgins going above Ridley?
Yeah.
Not for me. I'll take Ridley. I'll take Ridley all day long. Devontae Smith.
He's going to be the number 1 at all.
Devontae Smith's where it gets tricky. Because like Devontae
I
Smith,
love Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith's got a higher ADP than Ridley by quite a bit, and you know,
He does?
yeah, he's going 22 overall. He's in the second round.
He's going 22.
Yeah, I wouldn't take him over him either.
So 22 versus 30. Ridley's 30, Devontae Smith's 22. But cost of entry, I like Ridley more. But I do love Devontae Smith. If they both went in round 3, it would be an easy Devontae Smith. Let's pack it in and you know, even though I love Ridley, Ridley. But Devontae Smith in the second round or Ridley at 3.6. Give me Ridley at 3.6. Let me come in and draft, you know, an Olave or a Barkley or whoever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm kind of iffy on him too, Olave.
Why?
I just don't think the offense is going to be that good.
But didn't you see what this goes back to the Devontae Adams argument? Devontae Adams was in a situation where Carr just continued to laser lock on him like Aaron Rodgers. This is why Adams is not in the same situation he's ever been in, ever. His situation is different than he's ever been in. He no longer has an air yard master that laser locks on a wide receiver. Derek Carr is going to do what he just did with Adams. Just throw, air yards, get 14 touchdowns, get 13 touchdowns. He's going to take that right over to New Orleans, and he's going to say, Olave, go long. We've already seen what Olave's done with an air yard master like Winston, and Winston was not a good quarterback. Winston could throw the deep ball, put a lot of yards under the football, and let Olave do the work. Olave was the number 1 air yard wide receiver by a country mile while Winston was healthy and in the lineup. And once Winston went down, this guy couldn't do that anymore. But you know what he did? He adapted, he adjusted, and he became a very amazing, well-rounded wide receiver, a sideline guy, a short yardage wide receiver, and he already proved he was an air yard deep threat master. So, you know, I think Olave, he's gonna be so good, bro. He's gonna be if there's two wide receivers that are gonna outperform Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, and all those guys that everybody just for sure puts in the top 5 and 6 every year, no matter what. It's like, okay, it's like we talked about with Avi and I earlier, where he called me. What did he say? He said, kind of walked it back when he got on here, and I appreciate Avi. I'm not trying to go at him, but Avi said something to the tune of taking Garrett Wilson over Tyreek Hill is crazy as you know what. And
that is a little crazy to me.
No, it's not though. It's not though. It maybe you prefer Tyreek Hill, but Garrett Wilson looks straight fire, and I just think people that think it's crazy aren't ready for it. They're not ready for it yet.
I like Garrett Wilson.
But do you like him? Because how could it be crazy? You don't like him as much as you say you like him if you think it's crazy. Now, would I trade down if I could? Sure. Would I trade down if I could?
Maybe?
Absolutely. What?
So you would take him. Where do you have Tyreek then?
I just took him over Tyreek Hill tonight in the draft. I put my money where my mouth was.
Wow.
And the thing is, the wows are shocking to me. Absolute shocking to me. Because I feel like, is this, who's talking right now?
No, I like Garrett Wilson a lot.
You don't like Garrett Wilson a lot, or you wouldn't say wow 4 times.
I do. I like him in
Austin,
that round and that range with Ryan, all them.
You can't say you like Garrett Wilson if he goes. You could say you like him. You can't say
I would take him over Devontae.
You can't say you love him
and
if you're allowing him going in round 1.
I like him more than AJ Bees, Amon-Ra, all those guys.
But why are we in a place where we can't predict the next Tyreek Hill? How are we in a wow environment now where it's wow when this guy looks the part right now? It's not like we're predicting something that's not being telegraphed. It's right in front of everyone's face, and you got Tua Tagovailoa, who is one small baby shot, just a little tiny nudge away from being removed from the field for the rest of his career. But
we saw him do good without Tua.
His touchdown. You think his touchdowns are going to be there? They're not. The yardage might be hit and miss, but they're a majority of the time. But Tyreek Hill is not going to survive the same way in a makeshift offense without their leader that, yes, has proven he can do well when he's upright, but this guy is not going to stay upright. He's gained some weight, which is a horrible, horrible idea. It's not going to help him absorb anything because his problem isn't absorbing a hit. His problem has been when his head's hit the ground. So, this is going to be something that we reflect on, in my opinion, and I'm going to hear nothing but excuses about why Tyreek Hill is not outperforming Garrett Wilson. And again, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You don't hear me saying wow to you when you're drafting Tyreek Hill over Garrett Wilson, but the fact that people are saying wow, you serious?
Okay.
When I just did a draft where I took him. Of course, you know I did it unless you just joined. But what are we doing here? What are we doing here where we can't come in and say?
So what do you rank him though?
Where do I rank him? I draft him where I can get away with it. In a best ball draft, I can't trade. But would I trade down to 12 and try and get him at 10, 11, 12? Absolutely, bro. But do I think he's wide receiver 3 at the end of the year? I do. I think he's 3 or 4. I think
I can easily see him being top 5.
I think Chris Olave could be top 5 or 6. I think you're looking at, as I mentioned, and
that's why I don't agree.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. You know what people said was crazy when I said Jamar Chase was going to be as good as he's going to be, and now it's just a given. Oh yeah, no, it's easy to see coming. Yeah, no, sure.
I was
sure
there
it
right there.
Sure it is. Just like Garrett Wilson's going to be easy to see coming next year. It's going to be like, oh yeah, Garrett Wilson 3-4. I mean, that's easy to see coming. Yeah. Tua goes down, excuses. I'm going to hear nothing but excuses. The writing's on the wall. The situation's volatile. This guy's a quick twitch wide receiver that is going to potentially, eventually, I don't know if it'll be this year. I'm not saying it will be for sure, but there's a lot of moving parts and components to say, hey, there's more risk here than you think. Hamstring injuries eventually are going to start hitting this guy. I'm just saying there's a lot of things to consider with Tyreek Hill that aren't just related to Tyreek Hill. That's, or his ability. His ability's great. But to sit here and act like Garrett Wilson can't outscore Tyreek Hill, like that's some kind of crazy, shocking thing. Like I just don't get. If someone came to me,
I don't think that's crazy to say. I just don't know about drafting him where Tyreek goes. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do in best ball? What are you going to do in best ball? Force yourself to take the guy that, I do believe in variance. Like okay, take Tyreek Hill a couple times. Wait till you get a 6 or 7 pick, 8 pick. Then take Garrett Wilson there. I get all that, and I do exercise that a lot. But if I'm building a team, and in best ball, I feel like, okay, this is going to be the team, which you always feel like, right? And I say to myself later, why didn't I just take Garrett Wilson? Now I got Tyreek Hill, who I don't think is going to play better. I think Garrett Wilson outscores him, and I think what we're seeing right now is evidence that he's on the right track. That's what's crazy to me. Like we're witnessing the rise of a giant right now in Garrett Wilson. We're witnessing, and we have a quarterback that laser locks on a one wide receiver every single year. We have a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers that turned every year he turned somebody into an absolute fantasy football top 5 monster. He always does it. Always. And we hear excuses. He's older now. He's not going. Does anybody really think? And answer as honestly as you want. I won't get mad at you if you disagree. And usually people don't take this question well at all. I can already see it right now. I can hear your wow, Austin. I can hear your wow brewing right now. Does anybody believe Tyreek or Davante Adams would have been as good as he is right now if it weren't for Aaron Rodgers? I'm not saying he wouldn't have been top 10. I'm not saying he wouldn't have found his own way and developed. But does anybody truly believe Aaron Rodgers didn't have a big role in turning him into the player he became? You can't take it away. He went to the Raiders, played absolutely phenomenal. You can't take away the talent and what he's learned and what he's become. Not saying that. Although he's not going to find what he wants in a Raiders uniform. We saw Randy Moss go there, totally different situation, but great parallel, same team. disaster of an organization. But Randy Moss died in Oakland back in the day. And then we thought he was gone. I don't know if you guys played fantasy football. Some of you might have been in diapers back then. But Randy Moss went to the Raiders, took a deuce. We thought he was completely done. And he goes to New England and has one of the best seasons we've ever seen out of a wide receiver.
He goes to England and completely right. I remember that.
Adams is going to a bad situation. But what I'm saying here is maybe he goes to New York and plays with Aaron Rodgers again, and then he explodes. But does anybody truly believe that Aaron Rodgers didn't have something to do with how good Adams became? Does anybody believe that Adams would have just been exactly who he is?
I completely agree. The only thing I was saying is I just don't know about taking Garrett Wilson in the first round. See, I definitely like Garrett Wilson.
Now I'm saying wow to you, because I could understand you saying I want Tyreek Hill over him, but first round, bro, you wouldn't take him at 11, 12 overall? Are you telling me he's not looking that good to you right now? You sure about that? You sure about Come on, bro.
Dude, if I'm sitting in the back of the draft, I'm taking him 100%.
I'd take him at 11, 12, yeah.
Matto, okay. We'll see you later, Matto.
I'm just saying, but where Tyreek is going, I'm not taking him. That's all I'm saying.
And bro, I understand that.
But I do think Garrett Wilson is going to be really good. I agree with you.
I mean, we heard a lot of wows. That's all I'm saying.
And
you kind of got 1 foot on the train and 1 foot off the train. That's all I'm telling you.
I mean, St. Brown could be a top 5 wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree.
If somebody came into my chat and said that Calvin Ridley will be the number 2 wide receiver in the league, or St. Brown will be the number 2 wide receiver in the league, or let's throw out another player like I don't know, AJ Brown is going to be the number 2 wide receiver in the league. Honestly, even if I disagree with whatever they're saying, it makes sense. You can argue these things. That's why I'm just shocked when people have a problem with Garrett Wilson being even in the top 6 or 7. And what's crazier to me is when somebody comes into football drafting environments when they've been dormant, hiding like a bear, hibernating like a bear too, and they come in and you know you can always see them coming from a mile away, and they come into the chat and they go, Garrett Wilson, first round? And it's like, haven't you been, you've clearly been out of it for a while, or you know that he's being entertained around the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 territory. It has been bouncing all over the place. And if people think Garrett Wilson isn't going to start like we've been talking about, bro, you know that this conversation we're having right here, this wow, and I don't mean to keep talking about Austin's wow moment, but do you know how many wows I got when I started talking about Bijan at 5 and 6 overall and 7 overall in the first round? Wow.
I agree with that.
But Austin, the same tone or pushback was as severe, if not more, to my Garrett Wilson take, to Bijan being in the 7 to 10. It was like, wow. Everyone was like, wow.
I don't understand that, though.
Well, my point being that everybody's pretending that that's not their take anymore. Like, oh yeah, I'd take him at 6, 7, 8, 9. But it was just complete like jaw dropping material back then. And then when I climbed up and put him number 1, 2, or 3 overall, like depending on your scoring, it's Chase, JJ, Bijan, Chase, JJ, Bijan, or JJ, Chase, Bijan, or Bijan, JJ, Chase. Those are my 3. And the moment I came out with that content, wow, how could you do that? How can you have Bijan over Christian McCaffrey? He's never taken a snap. Changing of the guard. Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party. Top 3, top 4 wide receiver. Chris Olave, top 5 or 6 wide receiver. Quite honestly, Chris Olave is the one receiver that I think could give Garrett Wilson a run for his money of turning the most heads coming out of 2023. Chris Olave is as polished as any wide receiver in the National Football League, with his ability to do just about everything great. Not good, everything great. Route running, stretching the field, sideline capabilities, air yardage machine, nose for the end zone. And I think that Derek Carr is the perfect quarterback for him, given what we've seen Derek Carr do with Adams and just being a kind of guy that even if they're losing, even if they're playing from behind, Derek Carr is the perfect man for the job. We're gonna see Olave absolutely explode. We got a 502 caller. Who's this and where are you calling from?
The Boston Strangler. How you doing?
What's up, Boston? What's up?
Just watching the show.
Yeah, you seem like you seem like a little bit of a hater so far.
I'm not a hater, man. I'm just I don't agree with your takes at all. I mean, yeah. I like some of them, but some of them I disagree with. So
yeah, but you seem a little bit more than disagree with them. I mean, you know, it's
well,
one thing.
I'm very steadfast on my takes. I take my guys every year. I do a little research. I take my guys, and then
yeah, but reading back your comment, it was the guys got the setup but not the knowledge. You're watching my show, Boston. You're watching my show. I'm not watching your show. You're watching my show. So I have the setup, but I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the knowledge. I've been doing this probably longer than you professionally than you played fantasy football. Not saying I get everything right, Boston, but it is a little disrespectful. Your comments are disrespectful. I have an open phone line, bro. I have an open phone line where anybody can call in and debate me anytime you want. And that's what you did. You called in. But I'm just merely calling you out for some of the negative trolling that a lot of people say you were doing in the chat. I didn't read all of it, but I did see that part. It's like, okay, why are you watching the show then? If you think I have the setup, but I don't have the knowledge, why you tune in at all?
Well, I enjoy fantasy football. I mean, that's what it's about. So regardless of my opinion or your opinion, I'm watching your show. I'm supporting your show. Mm-hmm. You do have a fantastic setup. That's great. But, I think your takes are kind of ridiculous a lot of parts.
So why watch then? If it's not good content to you?
Well, because I read the chat.
Because my
I
setup?
watch your show. I listen because I like to take all aspects in. I like to take the ones I disagree with. Maybe you will change my mind. Maybe there's something you will say that will change my mind. But as far as so far tonight, I haven't heard anything that would change my mind, I think. I think it's kind of ridiculous, some of the stuff that you're saying.
Okay, like what?
As far as we're talking about Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to be greatest things since sliced bread. I don't see that,
So because you don't see because you don't see it, it's not. It can't happen. Like your stance is absolute. What about what's going on right now in camp that you don't love? What about offensive rookie of the year? What about having over 1,100 yards with no quarterback play whatsoever? What about predicting Garrett Wilson to be a top 3, 4, 5 wide receiver makes you feel like it's ridiculous or a bad take or lacks knowledge when it could just be you don't see him as that high yet and you're going to reserve the right to wait, but you respect the take. You don't respect the take. If it's not your take, you don't respect it at all. How on earth can you not see the potential that Garrett Wilson could be doing what I'm saying he's going to be doing?
There is potential there, but I think what you're doing is dangerous as far as fantasy goes. I mean, you're pumping this guy as a top 10 wide receiver, maybe top 5. It's ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
There's so much more talent out there. There's so many better options.
So let me ask you.
I think you're almost sending these guys up to failure. It's almost like you're pumping the crew that's watching you to draft these guys so that you can go in the league and then go ahead and draft other people.
Yeah.
And then dominate them.
You think that's what I'm doing?
Understand that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's a possibility that, this is a good way to possibly make the people that watch that go a certain way, because you do have a good crowd. And
do you think I gathered these people? You think I gathered?
You're the same guy that wanted me to draft Travis Etienne top 10 last year, right? That was you?
Hey, is that you? Do you think?
I'm just asking,
no, hold on. Do you
You're
think
the
I
same guy,
gathered?
right,
Do you think I'm the same guy? I'm the same guy that told you to draft Jalen Hurts. The same guy that told you to draft Joe Burrow. The same guy that told you to draft Kenneth Walker over and over and over and over again.
You just named two of the top quarterbacks, and
they weren't the top quarterbacks. That's the point.
Top
That's
running
the point.
back. So what are you talking about? You're not specifically saying. Am I the same guy that told you to draft Jalen Hurts in the second or third round? You're kind of going on.
No. Your memory's
you're
a
not
little
that.
foggy, pal, because he was a 6th-round steal that won leagues in one of our Moon Men last year. And now that you assume that Jalen Hurts has always been there, you don't realize that Jalen Hurts was one of the biggest predictions I could have possibly landed last year. But do I land everything? No. Do I land everything? Did I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I'll take away some of your ammunition. I don't hit everything, bro. But you're literally saying you think maybe there's a possibility that I created my channel so I could mislead my audience so I could draft against them and try and get an advantage.
That's what it sounds like to me. I mean,
I'm gonna play.
And it's on maybe. I mean, I would say 60-40.
60-40. And you got to be trolling. There's no way you're serious. There's no. You think You think I've been creating this channel for 5 years so that I could draft against a handful of people? You think people would watch me year over year? Do you think I'd continue to grow just throwing mud against the wall and missing? What are you talking about, bro?
What I'm talking about is that you are entertaining. You're a great show. But I would not be surprised if you're throwing bullshit at the wall just to fool the other people. Because frankly, your takes are crappy, and that's my opinion. I think your takes suck. A lot of your stuff is just throwing darts at the wall, man.
Yeah, really?
And it's not.
Yeah.
That's not the way to draft. I mean, I just don't see that. I don't see that as like a winning proposition.
Bro, everyone thinks you're trolling. Nobody thinks you're serious.
Okay, well that's fine. I'm not trolling you.
Hey, you know what's funny? You know what's funny, Boston, is that you're saying all of this with all of the assumptions on your side of the fence. You haven't once stopped to ask maybe the chat, hey, how long has he been doing this, and how accurate has he been?
How long have you been doing this?
You haven't asked over 20 years. I've been on.
Okay, well the same with me. I started in
No, Boston. Professionally for 20 plus years. I've done this. I probably did this. I probably played fantasy while you were still potentially not even watching football. So let's start there, and let's say that I've been doing this professionally for 20 years. I was on CBS and NBC Sports Radio for over 19 and a half, 20 years on the longest running fantasy football radio show in the world, prepping for my 5-year run on YouTube to take advantage of my audience so I could draft against them.
Why are you proposing all these bad takes on these players that are crapshoots that you want people to risk? I mean, you're talking about people risking first, second, third rounds on these dart throws that are not. I mean, they're in different positions as far as like different teams, and you're just like, hey, we'll draft this guy. It's a dart throw, man. I mean, you're basically sending people up to fail.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing right now.
Is that why everybody returned from last year?
That's how I see it. I mean, that's fine. You have your opinion.
That's how you see it, because you're assuming every single thing. You haven't stopped 1 second to ask the chat, hey, is this guy for real, or is this mud he's throwing at the wall to see if it'll stick?
I was just about to say, I've been watching this man since 2020.
I understand that you're supposedly for real. I mean, that's great. You have a great following. You have a great crew that chat and talk, but getting pissed off because people think that you're full of shit or your takes suck is not a reason to like.
Get pissed off. Just take a laugh.
Yeah, hold on. I don't know who's talking, but let's let somebody else rebuttal so it's not just me talking.
Dude,
who's talking right now? Who's talking to Boston?
I was talking. It was Austin.
Tony, go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
Dude, I just don't understand why you would think that Garrett Wilson is like throwing a dart. That doesn't make any sense to me. Right now, he's being drafted in the second round. Why is it a stretch to say he has the potential to have first round value? I'm a Dolphins fan, okay? Objectively, I'm scared of Garrett Wilson. The guy is a monster, and he did a lot with garbage quarterback play, and now he has Aaron Rodgers thrown to him. Why is it a stretch to say that he potentially has first round value? Like, how do you draft? Do you draft like a robot? Like you just let like you're on auto draft or something? This makes sense.
No, actually, I'm probably the most anti-ADP person out there. I don't go with
that.
ADP.
I doubt
it doesn't matter.
So then,
No, I mean you can.
That's
That's the truth. I don't go by ADP because ADP is a bunch of people that put up their best guesstimates, and I go with my guys. So you can doubt all you want, but that's the truth. And then as far as Garrett Wilson goes, who's Rodgers going to throw to? Garrett Wilson? Is he going to throw to him 300 times?
He's going to throw to Garrett Wilson.
Who's he going to throw to?
He's got. Well, you just don't think the Jets are going to do well at all, do you? You just think they're just going to bust? They have no defense. They have no rushing attack. No.
Aside from Garrett Wilson, who is Aaron Rodgers going to throw to?
Why can't Lazard be good? Why can't he throw? Why can't he have a pretty solid
Where was
passing
Lazard
attack?
before he was in New York?
Bro,
who was Lazard?
Bro, what's this have to do with Garrett Wilson?
Explain to me.
Why are you
all of a sudden
from
Lazard is going to wake up and be the greatest thing since sliced bread?
No. Who said he's going to be? You're putting words in everybody's mouth. You're putting words in everyone's mouth. You're shifting away from Garrett Wilson. You're shifting away, bro. You have no point. Nobody here agrees with you. You're in the wrong room right now. You're watching my show. You're calling into my show. And you're accusing me of misleading my audience and throwing mud at the wall because you don't agree with my take because you're so special and you don't have your channel. You don't have anything. You're calling into my show, which, look, I respect every single person that calls but you because you call in here and you act like you have the Grays Book Sports Ultimate.
Why don't you take the point that I just talked about and say that's not the case? Why don't you say that Aaron Rodgers had Lazard for what, 2 or 3 years?
What does that have to do
Adams
with Garrett
for
Wilson?
1 or 2 years while Lazard was on the team? Why don't you prove my point that Alan Lazard is not going to take anyone away,
bro,
from the greatest thing since sliced bread, who's going to be Wilson? Why don't you prove that? Tell me right now. Why don't you prove that point?
I'm
and
waiting
if you
for
can't,
you
then you're
to
full
tell
of
us
shit.
that Garrett
because
Wilson.
you're talking about Alan Lazard.
Bro, you don't have a leg.
I mean, what are you talking about?
The entire chat.
And then you're talking about Corey Davis. Someone typed in Corey Davis. You kidding me?
Bro. Look at the
guy's
chat.
a bum.
Look at the chat. Look at the chat. Read the chat.
I don't care about the chat.
Yourself.
Why don't you explain to me? Stop bullshitting and
You're
just
by
tell me
yourself, bro.
How,
You're
how,
all
how
by
is,
yourself.
How is Alan Lazard going to pull
Read the
targets
room,
away?
pal.
I mean, it's
room.
ridiculous, man.
Oh, is it? Is it?
It's ridiculous.
Anything that's not your take's ridiculous. You're watching my show.
No, I'm
calling into my
saying
show.
that. All I'm saying is that, like you're going to talk about Alan Lazard is going to pull.
Who's talking?
targets
You're
away?
the one talking
That's
about
nuts.
Alan Lazard.
Your friend that you just had chime in. I don't know who the fuck that
about
is.
Alan Lazard. You can't
Joe
even stay
Blow,
on
I don't know
point.
who the hell
You
that
can't
is,
even
or whatever
stay
his
on
name
point.
is. Who cares? He's a
You
bum.
can't
That's
even
why I don't
stay
know
on
his first
point,
name, I
bro.
guess.
You can't even stay on point. We're talking about Garrett Wilson. You start talking about Lazard now.
Okay, what
You're
about
the one
Garrett
talking
Wilson?
about
What
Lazard.
what about Garrett Wilson?
What about him? You don't think
who is going to pull targets from Garrett Wilson? Who is going to make Garrett Wilson not be double covered?
What's he talking
Did
about?
Lazard pull targets away from Davante Adams? Just answer that question.
No,
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. So
No.
Davante Adams wasn't good when Lazard was there.
Oh, bro.
Adams was
That's
awesome.
your joke, man.
Adams was awesome, but it had nothing to do with Lazard. I mean,
Right.
what are you talking about?
Oh,
That's
you just
ridiculous.
you just proved your own point.
That's Davante Adams being awesome. That's Alan Lazard being Alan Lazard or whatever his fucking name is.
But
Alan
Garrett
Lazard.
Wilson can't play that role for Aaron Rodgers, even to a lesser degree? Dude, you're
a
trolling,
lesser
man.
degree. Well, you're talking about top 5 pick here. You're talking about top 10 pick.
Boston, I feel bad. I feel bad for people in your life, though, bro, because you don't have an open mind for anything. You don't have an open mind. You don't even, Boston. You don't even have. Hold on, Boston. I'm talking. Boston. I'll end the conversation with you if you aren't going to let people speak. Boston, I'm going to get Boston. You got one more warning. When someone's talking, let them talk. Okay. You have no open mind for another take. If another take, and Garrett Wilson's going, he's been floating into round 1, and he's gone down to like 13, 14, 11, 10, 12. He's been floating all over the place. You have no open mind for another person's take, and for you to come in here and start slinging around reckless accusations about how I'm potentially maybe creating this channel to mislead my people so I can draft against them and beat them. That's the most ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous conspiracy I've ever heard in my life. Not to mention, you haven't even stopped to ask anybody watching this channel, anybody, what they think of it. How's it gone year over year? What's this guy done? You just call in and you don't like my Garrett Wilson take. You don't like a couple takes, and all of a sudden, I'm a fraud to you. I'm a fraud to you when you haven't stopped to ask a single person what's been going on the last 5 years on this channel. That's a fraud, bro. That's a fraud. That's fraud-like behavior from you, because you don't even give the respect to the show to potentially investigate, what people think, how it's gone. You just come in here slingshotting every little accusation around because you don't like my take, my Garrett Wilson take. Are you out of your mind, bro? Garrett Wilson, flying up draft boards everywhere. And you know what? I would love to know what you thought of my Bijan take, or what you think of my Bijan take, because he's running back 1 this year.
Yeah, Bijan plays in a. First off, I do think you're a fraud. Secondly, Garrett Wilson take. I do think that you're overselling him as far as like a top.
Yeah, we know that. You've explained that.
You're talking a first, middle, second round pick, and I think that's ridiculous. And then Bijan Robinson, I don't know, what has he done?
The answer is nothing. The answer is nothing.
Atlanta, hey, wait! You just made a big speech about letting me listen to you because I cut you off. So why don't you shut up for a second?
Oh, okay.
So as far as
how about this? How about this, Boston? How about that? How about that? You call into my show?
Finish him. Call terminated.
Dude, that guy had another.
Jeez, bro. I could only take so. Let's take away his Bijan card.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
He kind of contradicted points of him.
It's one thing to like call in and disagree. It's another to come in and slingshot accusations around that are just like ludicrous. Like not even giving the show enough respect to be like, hey, I wonder what he's done. It's like going into Amazon that has 10,000 positive 5-star reviews and just going straight into the reviews and going, this product looks like it's not going to work. This sucks. It's like, bro, that guy was just absolutely off his rocker. I feel bad for anybody in his life, because he's got to be such a frustrating person to be around, like a negative, vibe, to come in here and have that much disrespect for everybody watching. Like, does anybody realize how dumb he called all of you? That everybody's so dumb watching that they're just letting me brainwash him so I can draft against them.
No, why would you do that to us, man? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know, guys. That was definitely a strange one.
Yeah, I've been with you since 2016 or 19, right? It's 4 years now.
All over Garrett Wilson.
I'm still here.
All over Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
All over Garrett Wilson being
Garrett Wilson.
a top 3 to 5 wide receiver. We could even say in his case he would have vomited over just top 5. All over Garrett Wilson. You know what's
I've been
gonna
here since probably 2020.
You know, this reminds me of that one caller that called in about Christian McCaffrey. Remember, running back 1, Christian McCaffrey, running back 1, and then he's coming back from injury, and then I said, let's go ahead and trade him immediately. Then he comes back from injury. Guy calls in every day. Running back 1, you're absolutely out of your mind. Your followers are gonna see. Trade him away. He comes back, then he gets hurt again. Guy's never to be found again. Never to be found again.
I remember 2 years ago, I kept trying to convince you that Saquon was going to be good, and it was after the ACL.
Yeah, and he wasn't. Was he?
Yeah,
I like him now though, but yeah, I mean, he's coming back from his ACL tear. That writing was on the wall. Similar.
You feel the same about Brees?
No, Brees is light years ahead of where Saquon was. Brees is running 23 miles per hour. You know, that's a whole different ballgame. That's a whole different ballgame. Hold on 1 second. 814 caller, you're live. Who's this? Bella, check yourself?
Yeah, Vela. V-E-L-L-A.
Oh, Vela. What's up, Vela?
Yeah. I just want to know, where would you want to draft Davante Adams? Because apparently you don't like him this year.
Yeah,
I just don't know when would you want to draft him? I started out with Garrett Wilson that came back with Davante Adams.
Yeah, look, it's not about Adams' skill set. It's about Adams' bad situation and the fact that, like, when you see the man, you know, feel so frustrated about his situation where he doesn't want to be there. He literally doesn't want to be there. He said openly, this is not the direction I wanted. And that's specifically speaking to bringing in Jimmy G as the quarterback. He wanted Aaron Rodgers. He wanted a gunslinger. He wants out, but trading him is pretty hard.
They
here's,
can't trade him.
Here, yeah, his dead caps, there's no real way. Who the hell knows how it could be done, mid-season, or what kind of, money a team could take on or whatever. There's certainly ways, but it's hard to imagine him being traded. But I think what I would tell you is that the only reason he would flip and become the Davante Adams, not of old necessarily, because I think it's not a very conducive environment for a top 5, outcome. But I would say it would be like Wentz coming in, Jimmy G going down or getting abducted by aliens and raptured from the team or whatever. And then Wentz comes in, and then all of a sudden you got a guy that, hey, he can throw the football down the field enough that the comments people make about, hey, he's Adams, he'll get open. He's Adams, he'll find a way. Like that I could kind of get behind a little more and say, like, okay, Wentz to Adams. I just
believe it.
Go ahead.
I believe that everybody's underestimating this Raiders offense this year. Just like when back in the early 2000s when the Raiders got Rich Gannon, he couldn't throw the ball downfield. But they made it work with the way John Gruden threw the West Coast offense. And I believe that's what Josh McDaniels is going to do with this offense, with the short passes. And I think that's where Davante Adams is going to shine.
Yeah.
They got Jacoby Myers now.
I think that I think the opportunity for him to become valuable midseason is there, but it would take a quarterback change. That's my final answer and my stance. There's just no way. There's no way that I feel like Adams can survive at anywhere near his expectation level. And so your question, let's go back to your question. Where do I take Adams?
Where would you be? I started out with I like your Garrett Wilson pick. But then I came back because I had the 7th pick, I believe it was. I took Garrett Wilson. Then Davante fell to me coming back, and that's when I took Davante Adams. Would you take him in the mid-second round?
It depends on who's there, but no. I haven't drafted Adams in the 2nd round ever this offseason. But hold on. It's not that he can't deliver that, like in like I said, a world where it potentially comes by way of like a quarterback change or a trade or something crazy, that certainly can be there. But if, let's say, Jimmy G stays under center all year long, he can't earn second round value. But in my opinion, but what it comes down to me is when I look down the second round and I see, okay, Amon-Ra and Garrett Wilson near the 12-13 turn for, in most cases, Olave's in the second round, Pollard's in the second round, all three of the quarterbacks are in the second round. I'm looking down ADP data and I'm saying to myself, okay, Breece Hall used to be there, but now he's going in the fourth round, so you don't want to take that reach there. All those players
now
that
they
I
got
named
Dalvin Cook.
Huh?
Now that Dalvin Cook's been planning on going to the Jets, that's what they're saying right
he's
now.
planning on going to the Jets, but it doesn't mean the Jets are going to bring him in. Not to mention, that doesn't even concern me. It drops his ADP, and then he just becomes an absolute steal. So it's similar to the Charbonnet landing in Seattle, turning Walker into an absolute steal. Like, so Breece Hall's not going to lose his job to Dalvin Cook, who got released by his team. Like, we got to remember, he's not quite where he was back in his prime. He's on the verge of falling off a little. I'm not worried about that. All that makes me do is want to draft Breece Hall more, because he's going to fall into the 4.5 to 5th round territory. But let's circle back to your question. So whether it's Nick Chubb, whether it's CeeDee Lamb that falls, he's usually going around the 12-13 turn. Nick Chubb, Amon-Ra, Olave's almost guaranteed to be there above when you're on the clock to choose Adams. Give me Olave over Adams every single time. Every single time.
I'm looking to load up on receivers first.
Not to mention,
I'm not looking at running back.
Not to mention, is this Austin who asked the question about Adams?
Vela.
Vela.
No, I was about to say, I mean.
Well, hold on. Let me say this one thing. Vela. The other thing too is the odds of either Jacobs or Adams, getting injured and then sitting out the final 4, 5, 6 games are a lot higher than the average player.
I got a lot of Zamir White too for later in the draft for that reason too with Jacobs, but I think Jacobs will sign though. That's a lot of money you'd be throwing away if he doesn't sign.
Yeah. Smoke, appreciate the $1 super chat. Rock out, appreciate you. I'm sorry, Smitty, you had to go through this madness. Bro, I don't. It doesn't bother me, and I know you guys probably were thoroughly entertained by the silliness that guy brought to the table. Smitty's been drafting against us for years. Super chat. Thank you, Garrett, for the super chat. We got a $10 hauler from Gabriel. Let's send him to the. Whoa.
I think the Jets offense is going to moon the package.
We'll send Gabriel to the moon with the $10 hauler. Round 7, Hurts almost finished number 1. That was the funniest thing. That guy's argument was like when I said, "Oh yeah," and I didn't call Hurts or whatever, and I missed stuff too. But like he was trying to say like, "What have I called?" And I said Hurts round 6, 7. He's like, "Oh, you called a top 2 quarterback, bro. Get out of here! Get out of here! Top 2."
He didn't have a strong argument at all.
Top 2 quarterback. Top 2 quarterback. Hurts was the most. He was more disrespected than Fields right now.
Yeah.
And like for
I
him
was getting Hurts in the 8th round last year.
Bro, when he said that, when he said, "Oh, you called Hurts," like that was the biggest prediction of the year for us. That was the home run of them all. Like what's he talking about? Round 7, Hurts almost finished number 1. Waddle, St. Brown, Devontae Smith all went round 6 through 8, finished number 7 and 8 and 9. Ramondre and Pollard round 6 and 8, finished 7, 8. There's something. There's 2 to 3 year guys. There's something to these 2 to 3 year guys. Thank you, Gabriel, for dropping that super chat. And yeah, Pollard is. I love Pollard this year. I think Pollard could easily be a top 5 to 10 running back. I say top 5 to 10 because I want to include that top 5 in there because he's got that much ability. Ridley and Etienne flying to the moon and back, says Avi. Austin, I'm trying to call in. Smitty, appreciate you finally getting through. Okay,
I have another question though.
Yeah, I'm going to circle around the phone line and head to bed here. So who was it that had a question? Was that Austin or was that Vela?
Vela.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
about to ask.
About all these unsigned running backs, like when you would take Hunt, like Fournette, like an Elliott, like what would you do with all these unsigned free agent running backs?
I mean, I have no interest in those guys.
None whatsoever.
None. I mean, it depends on where Zeke lands. Like if he goes somewhere that has like a potential opening for like let's say he went back to Dallas as an example, which is possible. They're hot and cold on that, it seems, based on reports. But let's just say he went back. He'd be a end of the draft guy that could, like, let's say Pollard got banged up. He could have 2 games where he starts and has 100 yards and a touchdown. And, like, I mean, he'd be serviceable. He'd be like 15, 16, 17 round territory. But, I mean, I'm taking Roshan. I'm taking A-Chain. I'm taking Chase Brown. I'm taking those rookies that could potentially get the starting job somehow. You know, rookie running backs are always a great bet late in the draft. I mean, they're way better than Fournette and Zeke, but we got to see where they land.
Yeah, I'm grabbing those late, like last pick, like late.
Maybe. All right, hey Vela, got to let you go. I'm going to circle off around the phone line and drop people off. So appreciate you. Call in later. Appreciate you. Let's go over to Austin. Final thoughts, Austin. Your final question.
Yeah, I really like Darren Waller. I mean, I think he's going in like the 8th round.
Love him.
I mean, I think he's going to get a lot of targets. No really receivers there. And I was just wondering what you think about him.
Yeah, I love him in the 8th round. Darren Waller's got huge upside, bro. Huge.
I mean, I see like Hockenson going in front of him, Goddard. I mean, Andrews. I can see him doing just as good as those guys, and he's going way later.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about breakout tight ends, like who's going to be a breakout, who's going to be, sometimes every once in a while, the breakout ends up being a big-name guy that's just falling, and Waller qualifies as that player. Like, Waller definitely has the ability to be a top 5 tight end, and you're getting him in double-digit rounds. Okonkwo's my pick for a guy, you know, outside of round 10, 11, outside of the top 10 tight ends. He's going about tight end 11, 12. And Okonkwo and Waller are the two guys. Waller's going in the top 10. Underdog ADP has him at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's in between respectable kind of and a super big value. But, you know, you go down to Okonkwo, who's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 now. He's tight end 13. I love that. Kincaid's 12, so I take Kincaid and Okonkwo, and I hope the duo ends up proving me right and giving me a top 5 tight end. But the value this year is definitely in either Waller, I agree, Waller in round double-digit rounds if he does fall, or in round 9, 10, 8. 8's a little early, but around 9 or 10, I like it. I'd even take him in 8, I guess, if you climb there. But Ingram in the same kind of territory. I think Ingram goes one tight end slot after Waller, but the real value is Okonkwo, I think, in Kincaid. I think those guys are absolutely amazing. Smitty took everybody's lunch money. Thank you, Rockout. That was such a weird take. I've never heard that. He had to have been trolling though, because there's no one in their right mind that's gonna come in and say those things. Like, but what a strange evaluation of this channel. Like I've been plotting it for 5 years and just trying to create a little community that I can draft against. That's all I'm here for. Oh, that's crazy.
Thanks, man. I'm out. I'm going to be listening in the chat.
All right, who's this? Austin?
You know what you do, man.
Is this Austin?
Yeah.
All right, later, Austin. Let's go over to Ada, who hasn't talked yet, and then I'm going to go to Tony. Then I'm going to say bye to Wayne Solo, and then Terry Roberts. So go ahead, Ada.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I called in just to kind of debate with that call because I was a little confused, but it was been interesting here in the last 10 minutes. Good conversation, discourse. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I mean, just essentially like, you know, you keep that he kept putting it on you to say your point, never let you actually answer your point truly, and then just kept asking the same question like 50 times without letting anyone speak. And then change the conversation immediately when you started answering it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then it kept going in a different direction than Garrett Wilson. It's like, it was just like whatever.
Yeah,
but
he brought in the lizard. Like Why?
Yeah, the lizard, and the lizard's gonna be decent this year. I mean, he's not gonna be out of this world, but
if the lizard does well, that gives Garrett Wilson more opening too, because then they'll start crashing on lizard. If Aaron Rodgers is using him as a check down or slot, like wherever he is, he's gonna open Wilson down the field more. Like that makes no sense. The better lizard does, the better Wilson's gonna do.
Yeah, all my Amazon reviews are fake. But hey, as Grandpa always said, you can please. You can't even please all the people some of the time, believe it or not. Like that phrase has got some holes in it. But Grandpa used to always say you can please all the people some of the time, some of the people all the time, but never all the people all the time. I've come to the conclusion that you can never please all of the people some of the time, but you can please some of the people all the time, and it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it did get pretty funny at the end though when he started just like going on like, "You're a fraud, you're a fraud." Oh, come on.
Yeah, I just I almost feel bad for him, because I mean, how much hate you got to have in your heart to like you don't know me, And I've got a lot of people don't think I have thick skin, but I have thick skin where this doesn't bother me. Number one, like whenever you have anybody that's in any sort of spotlight, even if mine's small per se, whatever like well-known spotlight you're in, whether it's 20,000 subscribers, whether it's 1 million people on TV and you're an actor or something, you're going to always have people that hate you. The bigger you get, the more people you have that hate you. And, it's going to be par for the course. Like if you're going to do this kind of business, whether it's in a bigger spotlight, like being an actor, whether it's, being a YouTuber and having, as big a show as this is, or even having an even smaller show than this, if you can't handle the negativity, you're not gonna make it. Like the negativity will always be there. But there's never been a person that has been an absolute hater that isn't jealous on some level, or upset about something or just hurting inside. You'll never ever find somebody that comes in that is completely there for hatred reasons, or unless there's something going on, like that. And so I feel bad for him. Like I don't have hate for him. I know he has that for me, but I don't have hate for him. I wish him well. I don't want him here. Like he's a negative presence. If he changed someday, maybe we give him a chance. But like, I wanted to give him a stage. And when he called in, he definitely wasn't as aggressive as his messages, but then he started to warm up and started to say things that were just ridiculous. I mean, how do you even respond to somebody that says you're faking it all when there's literally people who have been here for 5 straight years? They've been here for 5 straight. Like, come on, bro. Like
no, that's why I respect you more because you kept them on. You didn't just hang up. You at least gave him a chance.
Can you imagine if Ron Navy was here? Ron Navy would have just.
Oh no, that would.
Oh, he would have torn into him straight up.
That guy's lucky.
God.
That guy's lucky. Or Denny. Denny would have went to war.
I mean, and I would have said something, but I just sat back and didn't say a word.
Yeah. I don't need to,
And I've been here 5 years.
No, I called in for that. I called in. I put the gloves on. I was ready.
Can you imagine Ron Navy would have? I'm surprised he didn't wake up. I'm surprised his ears weren't tingling. I think he's asleep right now.
I almost said something to the guy, and I thought, no, it's not my place.
Ron's going to be so upset he missed this. He's going to be so upset. Ron, I can tell you, Ron might not even sleep tomorrow night because he missed this. He's going to be so mad at himself. He's never going to bed early again.
He'll probably message me, why didn't you let me know about it?
Mm-hmm. That was an entertaining one. All right. Hey, Ada, we'll see you later, pal. Do you got anything else you want to add?
No. It was good. It was good calling in. Hopefully everything goes well. Have a good night, guys.
All right, later,
good
pal.
Talking.
All right, let's go over to Wayne. Let's go over to Tony and then Wayne. I'll give Wayne a little more time because he's been sitting patiently. I'm surprised Wayne didn't say. I mean, Wayne. I think Wayne tried to talk once, but I'm surprised Wayne didn't say anything. Tony.
Yes. Who's Aaron Rodgers going to throw the ball to? I mean,
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I was thinking.
How about they have a really good defense and they set him up in great field position? And how about he's got a better situation than he had in Green Bay last year? And how about this guy this guy Garrett Wilson has the potential to be the next Devontae Adams. How about that? That sounds like crazy. I'm just setting up people for failure. Travis says drop a. Let's see here. My people, guess what? Drop a Garrett Wilson draft at the end. Yeah, who is that? Travis, thank you, my man. I appreciate you. I'll do a Garrett Wilson draft at the end. Okay. Yeah, Tony, any final words or?
No, man. Just like I said, as a Dolphins fan, like I was telling Boston Clown Guy, I'm not looking forward to playing Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall twice a year. Especially now with Jalen Ramsey and our defense kind of up in the air. So I would totally draft him in the late first. And, yeah, man, that's a crazy take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he's not even really a second rounder. He's a first, second turn guy now. I think especially like the one thing you might want to keep an eye out, Tony, because I heard you say earlier he's a second rounder. But after all the camp hype and the ways that ADP data is not being updated or maintained this offseason well at all across the industry, which can be explained, in my opinion, this is my guess, but I think it's right, that there's so many drafts now. Like, how many of you on the phone line right now, I don't know if you can actually do underdog drafts, but how many of you would prefer doing a real draft for $3 that actually could win you money than doing a mock draft? You know what I mean? So I think the draft data is really bad and the ADP data out there for mocks. And I think on top of that, you just have like the reaction of the ADP updates are so like everything's so behind that in ESPN or wherever you're drafting, because people aren't astute and on the ball, and some of the best drafters and mock drafters that would normally be there influencing the data are all over on like Underdog code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit if you want to draft like we did tonight. We're doing that tomorrow night. But if all the best people are not there, then the ADP data is like soft. It's a paper tiger ADP data. So Garrett Wilson catching all these balls, looking like a freak of nature on the field this past week, that probably won't get updated or show in the ADP data for a lot longer than normal. So you're still seeing Garrett Wilson in those platforms going at like 13, 14, 15, and not at 10, 11, 12. Just like Bijan climbed, Garrett Wilson will climb. Underdog data will probably update quicker because not only do they update their ADP data like every couple days, really, this is where people are paying hard-earned money every draft, and so there's no bad draft. There's no draft where someone drafts for 4 rounds and then jumps. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go into a draft where people are like mock drafting and they draft for 3 or 4 rounds and they jump, then what happens is the team that was drafted started off as a human, and then the remainder of the team gets auto drafted off of the ADP, and then you just get bad ADP data just finishing the draft. And so it's like the ADP data is bunk now. It's not even good.
Well, the weirdness I've seen is like now since the Burrow injury, I'm in round 4 and I have to make like a tough decision. Like I see Burrow there, I see Watson, and I see Walker, and I'm like, damn, I don't know who to get here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Name those players again.
Burrow, Watson, and Walker.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on your team build, I would say. It depends on that. Garrett, appreciate Smitty's been drafting against us for years. That's so funny. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate your super chat. It's just such a weird theory. It's crazy. Rockout says wait for Hard Knocks. Wilson ADP rises. That's for sure going to affect it as well. Boston thinks Smitty took everybody's lunch money. Thank you for that one. Smitty, you had us go Smitty, you had... Oh, sorry. I already got that one. Thank you, Rockout. I think I caught up on the super chats. If I missed a super chat, let me know. Thank you, Rockout. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Oh, as for your question, yeah, it depends on what you're looking at. Like Burrow was the pick, but now he's gonna fall, probably, maybe depends on where you draft. So like maybe I'm taking You said it was Walker, Burrow, and Christian Watson. You're probably taking Christian Watson in round 4. You probably can get Walker or Burrow in round 5 now. We'll get one of them, depending on if it's a top 5 pick or a mid 5 or a late 5. But Christian Watson, I mean, maybe he falls to 5, and depends on your league. And Terry, I don't mean this in a bad way. I'm not trying to say your family league isn't good or anything, but the way you described last year, it seems like you're going to get these guys we're talking about. They're going to be maybe behind on getting on board some of those guys, just because maybe they're more of a ADP drafting community or whatever. So I think Terry's going to be able, I'm telling you, I can see it now. Terry's coming to me saying, Smitty, I got Walker in 5. Smitty, I got Burrow in 6, or I got Fields in 7. Like, I can see it right now, Terry. I know it. You're going to come away.
Some of them aren't. Yeah, some of them aren't up to date. They all know I'm part of the show, but they always talk crap about it. So I'm like, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
let them, Terry. They're watching right now. Terry's taking every one of you down this year. All right, Tony, appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
All right, later. Mars, man, Wayne, Solo.
Yeah, man, I agree, with everything you're saying about Garrett Wilson. I got him ranked as a top 5 guy. For people to scoff at the fact that, he couldn't possibly outscore Tyreek Hill, I just think it's they're not looking deep enough. They're not doing the research, and they're not obviously watching the football games. So,
there's a big difference between best ball drafting, like where you can't trade, and me telling people to draft them 5 overall in a family redraft league where you can trade. Like, you can trade down. The smartest thing you could do in the world was trade from 5 or 6 down to 9 or 10 or 11 and get Garrett Wilson there, and move your 4th rounder into the middle of the round 3, or move your 7th rounder into 5 and get another Fields. Like, if you could turn Tyreek Hill into Garrett Wilson and Fields, you're an absolute monster, and you made the best trade of your life. Like, I take Fields and Garrett Wilson over Cooper Kupp in a millisecond. I take Garrett Wilson and Fields over the number 1 overall pick. Like, if you could give me Garrett Wilson, you move me from 1 down to 10, and you move my 7th rounder into 5, let's say, or 8th rounder into 5, which is probably pretty reasonable. I think you could move your 8th rounder into the 5th round by moving down 1 to 10. Give me Garrett Wilson and Fields, and I'll give you a championship. And that doesn't mean I don't love Chase and Bijan and Christian McCaffrey, and I know that guy, which was hilarious when I said, what do you think of my Bijan running back 1 take? And he's like, what's Bijan done? It's like
the rookie. Yeah.
Well, what do you want me to say? How do I combat that? How do I talk to a brick wall?
He only broke the most tackles of any college football running back ever last year. So
how do I talk to a brick wall? All right,
yeah.
Anything else, Wayne? God, I probably woke up Miss Smitty too.
Yeah, I mean, who's Rodgers going to throw the ball to? I mean, I don't know. He made it sound like Rodgers don't have any weapons. Like, we being serious right now? Like,
I know, the problem I had with that question was that he was dodging the Garrett Wilson question by asking a diversion type question. I wasn't going to have that. You're just talking about Garrett Wilson right now. What are you doing going this way? Talking about Aaron Rodgers. Talk about Garrett Wilson.
He was talking about Lazard. He started bringing up Lazard, like Lazard was going to be the reason Wilson.
I don't know.
Wilson wouldn't perform, and look at what did Lazard do back when they were in Green Bay with Devontae Adams? Well, Devontae Adams was still a really, really good receiver, so it doesn't matter. And so, Rodgers was 3rd in deep attempts 3 years ago. Last year he was 2nd overall in deep attempts. And Garrett Wilson run sub 4.4. All the routes, he's going to eat if he stays healthy.
Rodgers has never had a better team overall. Never. In my opinion. Probably. Someone could argue it, but in my opinion, and I could appreciate an argument. Hey, Super Bowl team here. I got it. I get it, and I'm accepting of a different opinion on that. But in my opinion, overall, he has never had a better team. And defense is a big part of that. I think this could be the number 1, number 2, number 3 defense in the National Football League. We've only seen this defense produce with no great offense moving the football down the field and draining the clock and keeping the defense fresh. So to evaluate the Jets defense based on last year is faulty, because we might see a more hungry and fresh defense, just like the Niner defense kind of vanished for a little period of time during the season when their quarterback situation was shaky. The offense couldn't move the football down the field, and all of a sudden the Niner defense was exposed a little bit, not on their own, not because it's bad, but because they're tired. They're tired. They're potentially going to miss games. Some of the defense was banged up, and all of a sudden, the offense starts producing again, and then the defense returns to form. So the fact that the Jets played so well on defense without a good offense draining the clock, and the defense setting up the offense in good field position, the offense setting up the defense for good field position, Aaron Rodgers is going to live in the red zone, and Aaron Rodgers is going to have a shorter field every time he gets on the field. This is the best situation. Even if you don't want to see the best team personnel-wise, and you want to make that argument, whatever. This is the best situational football he'll ever be in his life. I think he's going to be living in the red zone, and it's going to be fun for him. He's going to have, just like right now, he's having fun. He's having a blast. And to go up against Sauce Gardner and an amazing defense every day in practice, does anybody think Aaron Rodgers isn't going to refine everything about his game to an extreme degree this offseason? I don't even understand it. And Hard Knocks will expose some of that and make people really, really love the situation. But Garrett Wilson is going to just, it's so weird that anybody would even push back on that take. You know what I mean? Like if you were going to come in and say, I'm excited about him and I wish I could do that, but I'm going to go ahead and go Tyreek Hill. Like, I get that. I respect it. Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill. Wouldn't even be crazy if you said, give me Diggs over Garrett Wilson. Wouldn't be crazy if you said, give me A.J. Brown as well. Like, if you said I'm taking Garrett Wilson below A.J. Brown, Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, I am not going to call anybody insane. I think it's a totally understandable take. But to not see the possibility that Garrett Wilson's the number 3 or higher wide receiver this year, that it's incapable of happening, you aren't watching anything that's developing right now in New York. It's an absolute... you can't in preseason and off season, it can be tricky and it can mislead you a little bit. There's always that possibility. He did injure his ankle. Like, who knows what if he had a Liz Frank injury and all of a sudden, like, his season's all, like, those things can happen. We understand that. But if you can't see the special of evolution of Garrett Wilson right now, mixed with the quarterback that has proven time and time and time again that he can turn a wide receiver into a top 5 monster year in and year out. It doesn't matter who it is. Do people think that he just got lucky, was handed Jordy Nelson? He got lucky, he was handed Devontae Adams. He got lucky and was handed Randall Cobb. Did he just continue to get lucky and have top 5 wide receiver production? Does anybody think that Christian Watson would have come out of 2022 even remotely close to what he looks like coming out, of 2022 without Aaron Rodgers? This guy has a natural ability and an ability to turn the talent around him into the best version of themselves and gets the most out of a player. And it's not fake. It's not a facade that goes away when Aaron Rodgers goes away or the player gets traded. We've seen Devontae Adams transfer his ability right over to the Raiders, and he is who he is. You cannot take away the ability Adams has right now. It's a situation that sucks, not Adams. Adams is every bit as good of a wide receiver anywhere he goes talent-wise without Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers helped make him. Aaron Rodgers helped make him. Adams helped support Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers has always created that player. This is not one of those situations where people say who made who, Diggs or Josh Allen. Rodgers has been doing it every year. Every year he's got a guy like that. So Garrett Wilson is next up, and it's amazing people don't see it coming, to be honest.
Yeah, I say that, when you compare their team this year on paper, the talent they got, I would, it wouldn't be a one-off to really say that I think they're more talented, maybe potentially better than those two NFC championship teams that they had in Green Bay. Not last year, but the 2 years before that. But now they're not going to really maybe show it this year because they play in the AFC. The AFC is very, very tough. So they're going to be hard pressed to have the same record as those two Green Bay teams that went to the NFC Championship game and lost. But on paper, I would say they're probably close. They're identical.
Yeah.
Maybe you could probably argue the Jets could be a little bit better this year, but
I
we'll
think
see.
Yeah, I think even if maybe someone wants to argue the offense is better in, a couple years prior, whatever, I could understand that, especially with Breece Hall being, coming off the injury. If that's the argument someone wants to make. If Hall were healthy, I'd say the debate's pretty easy in my mind. But I could understand somebody debating that. But when you mix in this number 1, number 2, number 3 defense that he gets to go up against in practice every day, like the other part about Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers throwing against Sauce Gardner is one thing, but the amount of potential and evolution behind Gardner and Garrett Wilson going up against each other every day is making both of them better in such a incremental way that it's just like it's gonna be so amazing to see as they build their bond together how good both of them become literally at the same time. Like if anybody has ever worked out with, I've made this example before, if anybody's ever like started bench press with a couple of dudes that lift a lot more than you, and you start lifting weights with them and you can barely get 1 or 2 reps up. Let's say they're benching like 250 or whatever, and you normally bench like 180 or whatever, and they're having to spot you, and you're literally able to get like 1 or 2 reps up, and they're pumping out 10, 12. Literally, they will barely improve, and you will get to where they are in like a month or whatever. Everybody's a little different. And just working with somebody that's doing bigger, better things than you, or at their top of their game, it just refines you. You're going to lift up to that level. And it's like it's crazy to think that people don't see all these things coming. Like, okay, Aaron Rodgers throwing against Sauce Gardner, unbelievable for him. Sauce Gardner trying to defend Aaron Rodgers while Garrett Wilson's catching the football, unbelievable for Sauce Gardner. It's just they're just helping each other constantly. They're just lifting the bar every day.
It's steel sharpening steel is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Steel sharpening steel. And then when they play other teams, it's gonna feel like we feel when we go into. I know Boston wouldn't understand this, but when we go into a normal draft, we feel so prepared. And then not only that, we go from a 30-second timer usually to a minute. If you're drafted on ESPN or Sleeper or wherever. So not only is the time doubled, but all these players are available that are never available when we're drafting together, sniping each other. And it's like, that's how it feels. That's the best example I can give. Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, these guys going out there and facing other teams, it's going to be so exciting. And you can feel the vibe. It's different. You can feel it. You can feel that Aaron Rodgers, he restructured his deal, took a $35 million pay cut so that he could stay for 2 years. And he's already pretty much decided that if his body allows it, which I think it will, that he's staying for 2 years. He's pretty much said that. And he's never given that kind of indication before in the last handful of years in Green Bay. He's feeling young. He's feeling rejuvenated. He's excited. He loves this team. He loves the vibe. He loves the up and coming dudes that he's surrounded, by, and they're looking to him to be a leader. And you can just tell he's having fun. He's having so much fun, and that's going to translate. You have fun and you enjoy what you're doing, especially Aaron Rodgers, the type of person he is on the field, where he gets a little flustered when he's doing everything he can and he's not getting supported. He's gonna feel really good out there. He's gonna feel so supported by this defense that it's gonna turn him into a player that wants to not, like, if you imagine him in Green Bay, let's say he goes to Green Bay, right? He returns to Green Bay and they're not winning. or they look like they're not, in form to win a Super Bowl. He's thinking about week 18. He's thinking about, I maybe I shouldn't have come back. I'm literally playing from week 7 on for nothing because we're not even maybe going to make the playoffs, and maybe he would have marched his team into the playoffs. I'm just saying it's going to be so different when this New York Jet team's winning and he's looking at every week in a different way. He's going to be so motivated. I just can't wait. Now, could it all fall apart? It certainly could. I don't think any of us really saw Denver, and some might say they did see it coming, but I doubt that. I'd love to see somebody put that on record, but to the degree they fell apart, I don't think any of us thought that Denver would collapse the way they did. Like, they had too much going for them to, collapse. It was awful. It was ridiculous. It was a despicable unraveling, And part of me feels like, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I don't know that Sean Payton can just fix it in 1 year. I think he's probably the best guy for the job, but part of me thinks that everybody's assuming this is going to go right back to where it should have went. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, it's probably going to take another year probably for Denver to get back in the mix. They still got a tough division.
And it kind of feels like that receiving room, they're not sure on who they want to be the 1, 2, 3, 4. And, you hear Tim Patrick's the number 1. Then you hear Judy's going to be everyone starts drafting Judy in the 4th round. And Cortland Sutton was supposed to blow Judy out of the water last year. Remember all the Sutton truthers last year were like, Sutton's way better than Judy. You'll see. We don't know what this receiving room, then they draft Mims, who's supposed to be Sean Payton's guy. And, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like a lot of volatile moving parts for a guy, Russell Wilson, who is going to be kind of shaken a little bit by Sean Payton's coaching, tendencies and Russell Wilson bringing his entourage in all last year and all the weird antics. And I don't know. I'm not feeling Denver right now. I feel like Denver is a little ways away.
Denver kind of reminds me of back when Brady was with the Patriots for 20 years. It kind of reminds me of the other, you can liken Denver to the Bills and the Jets in those years. And you had a couple of years here and there where people were talking that the Jets and the Bills maybe giving the Patriots a run for their money, and then at the end of the day, it was Brady every year, pretty much. They just, at the end of the day, they were not going to get past Brady. And I think for right now, at least over the course of the next few years, or maybe even a decade, they're still going to have to get past Mahomes, and even Herbert. Maybe Herbert throwing his name into the ring as well. So they're going to have their hands full for the next decade easily. So until they get somebody to probably replace Russell.
I think getting Russell Wilson back on course. You know what's weird though? Every single time, I doubt him. Then he goes into some accuracy contest, or you see him throwing the football where you can measure his accuracy. Like, wow, he can drop a raindrop anywhere, and he's got a good touch, and he's a good quarterback. But is he shaken? Is he able to be reeled back in and be consistent? And I don't know. These antics worry me. Who has a fake huddle with imaginary people? I did that when I was younger. I'm not gonna lie. Back in the Michael Jordan days, Bulls versus Pistons and Bulls versus Lakers. When I was a little tyke, I'd literally dribble in my mom's, in my parents' bedroom, on the bathroom door. I had one of those, Shazam hoops, and I'd play it all out. I'd Jordan backs up, I'd miss it and redo it. I did all that until I was about 12. I was about 11, maybe 11, 12. I did a little late. I probably went until about 12, where I still talked to myself and played basketball, with imaginary friends. Russell Wilson's a grown man, and he's out there having these fake huddles with imaginary people, and he gives fake high fives out of a tunnel. I don't know. It just bothers me. That's a weird way to, I guess, stay away from a player, but I don't know where his head's at. And I think he got rattled last year, and now he's got this disciplinarian Sean Payton coming in who's not going to let him do anything that he wants. And Russell Wilson's kind of used to having his way, and there's just a lot of things going on now. Who's the number one? What are the wide receivers going to look like? I don't love the wide receiver room, to be honest with you. I think Judy's very talented, but he reminds me of Sammy Watkins. I think Jerry Jeudy Sammy Watkins was so talented, but he just couldn't put it together. He couldn't stay healthy, couldn't put it together. Jeudy reminds me a lot of Sammy Watkins. I like Jeudy a lot. He did have a nice, strong finish. I don't mind him, but I think people are drafting him as aggressive as people were drafting Pittman and Deontay Johnson last year, which was
like the Mike Thomas last year, I think too. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, I was like baffled every time Michael Pittman went in the third round. I was baffled when Deontay went in the late second to early third round last year in some drafts. I was just like, what in the hell is going on here? And I feel the same way about Jeudy. I see Jeudy in round 4, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, could I get behind drafting Jeudy as a bounce back player? I don't know, in round 6. Like, I wouldn't even take him at 5. I don't understand this 4th round Jerry Jeudy hype. Like, you're talking about Kenneth Walker going around 5, and you're taking Jeudy in round 4. I don't understand it at all. There's upside, but
the Allen vibes.
Yeah, there's upside. I'm not denying the upside. I mean, Judy's got upside, but it's no longer there when you're taking him in round 4. He's got negative upside at that point. The scale is way too much on the side of risk than it is reward. You know, if you're going to go in on a player that's risky, you at least want that scale balance, whereas equal risk, equal reward, hence ETN 3.5 to like 3.8 territory. Like ETN at 3.8 is an equal risk reward scale, which means you can't put all your eggs in one basket. It's one of those players that in a couple leagues, you got to get him. You just want him in case he does what we think he's capable of doing and they start throwing the ball to him. But when ETN's in the middle of round 3 or even 3.8, you just can't draft him in every league. The scale's too even. You know, you want somebody where the reward is so much heavier on the scale, and the risk is not even heavy enough to make it even. And Jeudy being in round 4 feels like that risk is literally slammed down on the side of the scale. It's not the case where it's even on both sides. It's not. Like that's ETN in round 3. Jeudy in round 4 is all risk and very, very little upside. Round 6, 7, I think it, you know, there's appeal. But let me be so bold as to say, I like Jahan Dotson, like straight up in a trade. If let's say I'm in a league right now, Jahan Dotson's going around 6 or 7, and let's say I have a Jeudy. Season's about to start tomorrow, and I'm dealing with a stickler who says I'm not trading to Jahan Dotson at all. I would give him Jeudy a 4th rounder in a millisecond for Jahan Dotson. I don't even care about the ADP. Give me Jahan Dotson all day long over Jerry Jeudy.
Somebody said Judy's number 1 in route separation. He's 78th overall of the wide receiver win rate versus man coverage. He's, you know, he's not, you know, I don't know what stats he's looking at, but he, you know, his total route win rate is 88th out of all the receivers in the league last year.
Let me drop a Garrett Wilson link real quick for everybody that wants to jump in. I'm sorry if I haven't dropped that. Let's see here. Garrett Wilson draft incoming. We're going to do a $3 slow draft, 12-person, create a private draft. Hold on one second. Let me drop this in the live chat right now. This will hopefully fill fast because we got over 100 people still in here. Let me copy this over and let's see here. Hold on. All right, here comes the link. anybody wants to get in on the Garrett Wilson private draft, here comes the link right now. 5, 4, hold on, 3, 2. Okay, here it is. Garrett Wilson draft right now. Boom. Let me go ahead and I'll tell you guys when it fills, but even if you don't get in that, we'll be dropping more. 10 more spots, 9 more spots, 8 more spots, 7 more spots. Let me plug in. This will fill pretty quickly. 5 more. Let me enable this real quick. Here we go. All right. Hey, I'll see you later, Wayne Solo. I appreciate you calling tomorrow.
All right, later, man.
Later, pal. Terry Roberts, final thoughts, pal.
Hey, man. What about Breece Hall? I know you're not too worried about him, but if he starts a little slow for the first month, you even said some of his numbers may be a little bit off because he's still recovering. But you said you're not worried hardly at all, right?
Well, the way I've been telling people, like how I'm digesting the idea that let's just pretend Dalvin Cook lands on the New York Jet roster tomorrow. Okay, let's say we wake up and it's news. There's 2 things that have happened. Number 1, his stock is going to drop, and any draft where you've already drafted him, you are going to be upset, and rightly so, because now you're buying something that is very much discounted and you paid a higher price and you didn't need to. You didn't know, but yeah. So that's going to burn a little bit. Doesn't mean that it changes the outcome. It just means that you got a big, slash in the fair market value of your player and your team overall. But it doesn't mean it's gonna happen that way. It's kind of like Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet was drafted onto the Seattle Seahawks roster on draft day, and you took Kenneth Walker at 14 overall. Now he's going around 4.5, and you're pissed off because had you had this information earlier, you could have built a team that would have been 2 times better because you'd have had a free second round player if you believe in Walker in around 4 or 5. So, but what are the people doing now? Post NFL draft, they're cleaning up with Kenneth Walker, just cleaning up. 4th or 5th round pick, really a 5th round staple right now in underdog. So the same thing's going to happen with Breece Hall. If Dalvin Cook lands on roster in New York, your previous Breece Hall shares are going to feel like you're going to feel a little bit taken advantage of. You're going to be like, damn it. I could have got him in the 4th or 5th round. Imagine who I could have gotten in the 3rd round now. I could have had Gibbs and Breece, or I could have had Mahomes, who was sitting there at 3.1, and I took Breece or whatever. But going forward, Terry, he's going to be similar to Walker in a new light, in a new value category, as a different player, as a different risk level, as a different risk versus upside, comparison. And if he goes at like 5.1 or 4.10 or 4.9, you're getting a top 5 potential running back off of risk that may or may not even really pose a risk at all. So my answer to you is this: is there going to be some upset feelings? Is it ideal for previous Breece Hall shares that I have? No. I mean, it's not great. It's not great that he signs there. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do anything. Cook could get injured right away. Cook could not get used like we thought. Lev Bell going to KC felt like Lev Bell was going to be used, and he never really was. I mean, Dalvin Cook could be the same thing. But I can tell you that moving forward, it presents a new opportunity that we're going to be exploiting the hell out of. So there's just 2 ways to look at it. But I don't think it indicates that Breece Hall's behind schedule. He's running 23 miles per hour. I don't think they're going to want to step on Breece Hall's toes. So ultimately, similar to the Hopkins prediction that I had, that he wouldn't go to New England, which proved to be true, I think there's a chance that Dalvin Cook doesn't get near the financial offer he wants from New York because New York is going to want to pay him as a legitimate backup. And he's going to he wants to win. He wants to be in a place where, he's saying things like he wants to be in a place where he's going to get some Dalvin Cook love, like they're going to appreciate him and want to be with him. Sounds like maybe his market isn't anywhere near where he wants it, and he's starting to accept that and just wants to go somewhere where he enjoys being, and that could be part of, true, what he's saying. So the only way he signs in New York, in my opinion, is if he ends up getting lowballed by everybody, and New York's offer that is low is actually on par with pretty much everybody else. So that's where I think that the Jets could say, hey, we're dumb not to take Dalvin Cook. And to be honest with you, if I was the coach, I would sign Dalvin Cook if he was a backup type of, salary to put on my, arsenal of weapons. I would do it. I'm just being honest. I would do it. I'd take Dalvin Cook as a coach.
From a football standpoint, that's a great move for him,
yeah,
I think, yeah.
But do I think that he's going to cost backup money? I think he'll cost a little more than that. I think Miami's willing to pay him a little bit more than New York is. And I think ultimately he's leveraging New York potentially to make Miami come stronger. And he's, we're hearing that he thinks there's a good chance to go to Miami. But this was an interview where he's being baited and asked questions and probed in a certain way. Like, yeah, I could go there. But we aren't really hearing New York talk about it like it's happening. Dalvin Cook's the one telling us that he's probably going to New York. We haven't heard New York talk about it that way. So we'll have to see. But if you get signed tomorrow, Terry, it's not great. It's not great. You're not going to feel great about it. Just like when you owned Walker and Charbonnet was drafted, you didn't feel great. You can't, unless you could cuff him. But then that poses the question, Terry, can you cuff Dalvin Cook to Breece Hall, or will Cook go so high that you can't? And I don't know the answer to that yet. We're going to have to see how people react. I can't imagine that people want to draft Dalvin Cook extremely high with Breece Hall on the roster. So if you can cuff him, it could be good. If you can't cuff him, then I don't know.
Get him in there, yeah.
Bottom line is, dynasty, Breece Hall is a top 2 or 3 running back. In redraft, I truly believe the offense will be efficient enough. If Dalvin Cook's not there, he could still be a top 5 to 10 running back the first couple weeks, but I think he gets on his horse about week 3 or 4 or 5, and he starts cranking out such good numbers that even if you removed week 1 and 2 from his entire game log, he still finishes a top 5 running back. So,
Yeah, because I completely agree with you. Breece Hall has the explosion. I've been watching enough of it where he has explosion, where he could be the top running back in the league. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
Yeah. I don't think the Jets even have the cap that they I don't know. I have to look at it again if I remember correctly, that they can't offer him what I think he wants, but I honestly don't think he's getting anything that the market's not there. And that's why I think maybe he's saying things like, hey, anybody that's going to treat me right, so he can kind of like save face to say, well, why didn't you go to Miami? You weren't getting any good offers. Why didn't you go to here or there? And it's like, well, I chose the Jets because they showed me love. He's like prefacing why he would accept a Jets offer. Just give me any offer. I don't know that the Jets want to bring him in. Not to mention, he's going in for a visit. They're doing their due diligence, so to speak. But Dalvin Cook's got potential off the field issues that could still arise. The Jets have a really good vibe going, a very positive environment. They don't have any negative press right now to any significant degree. And you're going to bring in a guy that's going to be going through a legal domestic violence situation or domestic abuse situation. Like, that's another thing that I don't know that fits well in New York's, frame of mind. They got Hard Knocks. They got, I don't know. To me, it doesn't feel like as big of a solid fit as other people are suggesting, but I'm not going to rule out the idea that he has no good offers and the Jets say, hey, let's offer him this. No one's even offering him a deal. Let's just give him a deal. And they offer it to him and he's got nothing else on the table. And he's like, okay, I'll take it. Like, it could happen, but I think we hear the Vikings might still be interested. I don't know that that's true. But, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Terry, appreciate you, pal. We'll see you later.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Later, pal.
All right, good talk.
Yep. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate you. Anyway, that was a long live stream. We were here for 3 hours. We're going on in 40 seconds. We'll be here for 3-hour tour. 3-hour tour. Let's see here. What else you guys got? Sick Nasty, appreciate you. We need one more in the Garrett Wilson draft. Here's the link one more time. Let me see if I can grab the link and paste it. I think this is the link here. Hold on, let me find it. This is the link right here. And I'll drop it on the screen, or I'll drop it in the chat. We need one more. Here's the link. Garrett Wilson draft. Somebody grab that spot. It's the final spot. Do it live. What else we got? Any good questions before I jump out of here? Appreciate everybody being here. Hit that thumb up button on your way out the door. Sick Nasty, appreciate you. Nikki, appreciate you. Terry Roberts, appreciate you. Jonathan, I'll see you later, pal. D-Town in the building. Appreciate you, D-Town. Travis, appreciate you moderating. Terry, appreciate you. Big O, let's ride. We'll see you all later. We filled it. The draft is starting soon. What pick am I going to get? Let's see what pick I'm going to get. Wayne Silla, appreciate you. Taking your lunch money, I guess, bro. I guess. What I get? 11? 11. Draft starts in 51 seconds. TJ or Mark this year. Andrews, I'm taking Andrews. But I don't really want either of them at cost because I'd rather get an RB or a wide receiver, and I'd rather go after a Okonkwo is my true answer, my guy. That's my true answer. Might start with that question. Pineapple or on pizza? Sure. I mean, it's not my preferred option, but I mean, I've had it on pizza and I don't mind it. I don't mind pineapple on pizza. It can taste pretty good. Pineapple on a sandwich is pretty good too if you've ever had that. That's a teriyaki sauce, pineapple, turkey on like a cheese bread. Like it's actually a really, really good sandwich. What did I get? I got the 11 pick, right? Ada, you got the 10. All right, here we go. This it should be a quick draft, even though there's an 8-hour timer, just because we're all here. But maybe actually we waited a while before it filled. Maybe somebody joined and left. It's possible we're sitting here a while for somebody. Underdog is the only available in the U.S. and Canada, said Omar. I'm sorry. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Get ready for tomorrow's drafting, and to do that, the link is pinned in the live chat. Click that link. Get signed up now. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. So if you would like to draft tomorrow night, make sure you click that link pinned in the live chat right now and sign up and let's go. Let's ride. Appreciate you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget the show moves to 8 p.m. Eastern Monday through Friday instead of 7 p.m. An hour difference. 8 p.m. That's 5 p.m. Pacific. Of course, daylight savings will change that for Pacific and Mountain Standard later in October, but it'll always remain 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you know your Eastern time, 8 p.m. Eastern, moving forward permanently every single Monday through Friday, all year long, every year, 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's go. You know, I should have played this. I didn't even think of it until now, but let's do it. Come on, man. Pick up.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hey, man, it's Devontae Adams again. Call me back, bro.
Your eyes.
Garrett Wilson and the boys.
Your eyes.
Rogers has new toys.
Your eyes.
The lights, the heat.
Your eyes.
A Jets fan complete.
Your eyes.
You don't want to test Sauce Gardner's heat.
Your eyes.
I want to watch Brees Hall's quick feet.
Jets country, let's ride.
Thank you all super chatters out there. Appreciate you. Let me read you off. Dan the Grim Reacher, Garrett, James Young, Avi, Garrett, Detest, Sick Nasty, Garrett, Austin, Avi, Gabriel, Garrett, Rock Out, Smoke, Rock Out. Appreciate every single one of your super chats. Go get burrowed. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.